beauty of the 12-race Motocross Championship lies in our ability to watch history being made. Last week, fellow South Africans Gareth Swanepoel and Tyler Rattray were moto winners a long way from home as they rounded out an all-international podium in the American Motocross Series. Gareth Swanepoel wins. Moto #1 at Southwick, Tyler Rattray wins the overall, and Australian Brett Metcalfe fulfilled a lifelong dream with his first career overall win at MX338. While rookie replacement rider Justin Barcia lived up to his potential, taking his first career moto win. Justin Barcia wins his first ever 450 moto. The beauty lies in seeing courage and determination, like that of Team Suzuki and their rider Ryan Dungey. Despite starting a half a track behind the field, Dungey displayed the heart of a champion, passing 33 riders in 35 minutes and keeping himself in the championship hunt.
Hey, there's 4 races left, and it's not impossible, and I'm just glad we could get out there and pick some guys off and walk away safe.
The beauty lies when we bear witness to heartbreak. Chad Reed has poured all of himself into the quest for the 2011 title. But 1 week ago, it all slipped away.
Disappointing to know that it's all over now and to come so far and so close, but yeah, so far away from it.
The beauty of motocross lies in its consistency. Today, from Delmont, Pennsylvania, Fuel TV presents live coverage of Round 11 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We're just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the next to last round of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the Steel City National from Delmont, Pennsylvania. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Jason Wigan and 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig welcoming you to live motocross coverage on Fuel TV. What a great championship scenario we have breaking down here. Let's give you the big picture storylines. It starts, of course, with Ryan Dungey's heroic ride 1 week ago in Massachusetts. The team could not get the bike started before the race. The race took off without him. But amazingly, they were able to get the bike down to the line just moments before the first lap was complete. Dungey came from 40th to 7th to salvage championship points. But Ryan Villopoto maintains the series lead over Dungey by just 8 points. It's very close between the two Ryans, but Villopoto was the fastest rider in qualifying practice today. So a little bit of extra momentum for the #2. So now we break it down here at Steel City. It's been a long championship run, but it is now down essentially to the two Ryans, Villopoto and Dungey. How do you call a favorite late in the series?
Well, I'd like to have that 8-point lead that Ryan Villopoto has, but more importantly, he's came here to Steel City and notched the fastest lap time in qualifying, and not by a little bit, by a lot. It was close to 3 seconds. So for Villopoto, it's really important for his championship. If he can win Moto 1, the way that the points will work out, he'll put himself in a position where, if it was a 2-horse race, of course, he wouldn't have to win he wouldn't have to beat Dungey in the remaining 3 motos. For Dungey, it's all about he has to treat each race like it's a must-win situation. Problem for both those guys is that you've got some wild cards in there like Justin Barcia, who are out and showing a lot of speed, and they can take that point scenario that I laid out for you guys and just scramble it all up, and it won't mean anything.
All right, well, that's going to make it even more interesting with all these riders gunning for the two Ryans up front. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates for more on the starting line.
Well, guys, things are heating up in a big way with just 2 rounds left. Ryan Villopoto has that 8-point advantage, but Ryan, you know things are far from over. What is going through your mind right now as you're anticipating this gate drop?
I mean, just get out there and get a good start and just have 2 solid motos today, and then, you know, hopefully come out on top and we can go to Paula with a little bit more points. But, you know, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a tough day for sure. We've had battles all year, so we'll see.
Best of luck to you today. And Ryan Dungey is lined up at the gate. Ryan, you managed to salvage so many great points last weekend. It seems as though it's serious business, a whole different look of focus and determination on your guys' face this weekend. What's made the difference? Just 2 rounds left to go.
Well, it's go time. You know, I think there's a lot of racing left, like I said earlier. But you know, I think it's important we get off to good starts, keep executing our plan, and get maximum points. You know, I think each and every motos counts, and just give it our all, do our best we can, and I'll be happy with that.
Well, last week at Southwick, we saw a great drama unfold. And of course, that means heroic performances and unfortunately some heartbreak for others. But that's what makes the sport of motocross so great to watch. And we expect more of that drama to unfold today at Steel City. Who will come out on top here in Pennsylvania? Stay tuned live to Fuel TV next.
I've been doing this for 50.
Let's give you the 411 and show you exactly how these motocross races are run. We will have two classes today, 450s and 250 bikes, and each class will race two motos with 40 riders in each. Each race lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. We combine the scores from both races in each class to determine an overall winner. Now let's show you the track map brought to you by Kawasaki and the all-new KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Jeff Emig, take us for a ride.
Well, up to start, and you know, around that big fast sweeper, if you start on the outside, you can actually get a pretty good start. But when I looked at the gate, it was the 8th gate from the inside is a straight shot. So you want to be around there. The other thing that I can't stress enough is on TV, this track, it's got some uphills and downhills, but when you walk it, they're way steeper, okay? Even in flat sections where it looks like it's flat, it's actually on an off-camber. So being able to hold the edge of the tire on these off-camber turns as the track dries out is going to be really important to setting a fast lap time.
There's last week's race winner, Brett Metcalfe, and we had a chance to talk to him yesterday. We'll see if he can carry the momentum of that first career win into maybe a second here on a completely different type of racetrack.
Well, this is my eighth year racing, and there were quite a few times there where I really thought about maybe it's not going to work out, you know, and thought about, you know, should I continue on, should I not?
And poetic justice for Brett Metcalfe, who had a win ripped from his hands last year when his bike ran out of gas. He wins the overall here in 2011.
Man, it's felt awesome to get a win. Yeah, I knew where I was during the moto. I knew I had the overall, you know, right there. I figured all I had to do was beat Villopoto, and the win was mine. So from that point on, it was a little nerve-wracking knowing, hey, you got it right in the bag, and after last year, what happened? I was really stoked to see the checkered flag. I think the difference is just it's my time. I have no explanation for it. I've had 3-2 moto scores before and finished 3rd overall, 2nd overall. It's just the way I see it, it's my time. What happened last year, running out of gas, felt like I got stripped of it. It gave it to me this year a little bit. That was a big moment for me. You know, 8 years of trying. It was a big, big moment.
What a moment it was, and interestingly, his father was up to watch him race here in the U.S. for the first time in 3 years.
Wow.
And he had that first race with his father there. It kind of gives me goosebumps, getting all emotional thinking about it, because that was a big, big win for him.
I think he needs to push Dad's flight back and get him at the next 2 races and maybe get more wins.
Get him on the frequent flyer program, right?
Here's Fuel TV's one to watch, Justin Brayton, who got 3rd in our 2nd moto last week at Steel City and has done very well at this track in the past.
Yeah, and Brayton grabbed a whole shot last week, put the Yamaha up front. Like you said, he 2009 had a one Moto 2. Yeah. 2010 was on the podium for the overall. So spoke to him earlier. He definitely likes it today. They have the bike dialed in, and he's happy. And a happy racer tends to be a fast racer.
Well, that's what we're looking for. We know the Ryans, Villopoto and Dungey, are up front in points and racing for this championship. We're wondering if some other riders can get in there and mix it up. The last couple of weekends, we've seen it happen. Justin Barcia has been in there. Metcalfe, obviously. We'll see what Chad Reed has today. Brayton, let's go racing live on Fuel TV. Villopoto is going to grab the whole shot. He's got Dungey right there with him on the inside, but Barcia is going to get past both. And Dungey takes advantage of Barcia cutting across the front of Villopoto and takes over 2nd.
Wow, Villopoto got real aggressive there, tried to get to the inside of Dungey, and right now they've put down a little bit of water. They've worked the track in certain spots. It's going to be really slippery. You see Dungey slipping and sliding, trying to hold the inside line.
And Dungey able to take the lead away from Barcia. Barcia's going to try to get it back on the extreme left side. not able to make it happen. So Dungey goes from about 4th to 1st in 3 or 4 turns.
And look at Villopoto. He notched the fastest lap time in the second qualifying round by close to 3 seconds. And I watched the lap. I was on him, and I mean, he just executed it perfectly. Now, as a rider, you know, somebody like Dungey, you can either be devastated or you can use that for motivation to say, look, I need to step it up. And that's exactly what Dungey has done here at this beginning of Moto 1. Executed the start, and now he's going to put the hammer down and try to get away. But I suspect the 17 and the 2 are going to have something all the way through this moto.
That's that big turning double jump that a lot of riders not able to get over in practice. You see Metcalfe and Weimer come through in 4th and 5th. Well, that double's very tough today.
Well, they've chosen, it's not that the double is hard, but it's hard to make this inside turn. This camera that we have is located right there on the inside, and you have to hit that pretty fast.
Whoa, speaking of fast, Villopoto getting the wheels back down to the ground, trying to horsepower his way past Barcia.
Watch the inside. Barcia's out in the messy stuff.
It's a drag race now. Another one of these big Steel City jumps, and Villopoto's going to beat Barcia to the inside. Can the 17 run it around the outside fast enough? I don't think so. Villopoto has taken 2nd place away.
Well, and Jason, in this championship chase, it could be not a Suzuki of Metcalfe, but it could be the Honda rider of Justin Barcia that could be Ryan Dungey's biggest ally. He needs a win, first off, then he needs other riders in between himself and Villopoto to try to close up that 8-point gap in the championship.
Yeah, well, even after the first lap here, Barcia has already made his presence known. Villopoto had the whole shot. Barcia snuck by him, and that slowed Villopoto up, and that's why Dungey is ahead of Villopoto now. So Barcia already a factor as they race past that Makita Mechanics area for the first time. Now instead of uphill jumps, and we'll hook back onto the start straight.
Yeah, and look at Villopoto. He notched a triple in there. And you can see there's some wet spots on the track, there's some dry spots. Some of the lines are not so good, and the track right now is really tricky. And once Dungey got up front, I noticed he's riding a little bit cautious. Villopoto has the ability of being in second. He can be a little more, take a few more chances, whereas Dungey kind of has to guard the inside. So you can see Villopoto here really riding the wide line. And the second reason for that, of course, Jason, as I talk about every week with these 450s, is the roost here. There is rocks in this hard clay, and for Ryan Villopoto right now, when he catches a mouthful of roost off the back of Dungey's Suzuki, it hurts. And at this type of track, when you're consistently following a rider up these hills, and you can see all those light spots, that's all little rocks in there, it's brutal.
And now, just as quickly as Villopoto is able to close right up on Dungey, Dungey pulls back away, and there's Barcia still not too far back in 3rd.
Yeah, but see, I don't necessarily think that is a situation that Dungey executed the turn better, or Villopoto made a mistake. He clearly got close, got in that roost zone, got in that spray, and then backed off just a little bit.
Here's Chad Reed in 6th, trying to get around Weimer for 5th, and Reed almost went for that big double. This is kind of what we've seen for Chad Reed the last couple of weeks. The guy was battling for wins and was leading the series standings for most of the year, but now is just trying to get into the top 5. He has not quite been the same ever since that huge crash in Minnesota.
Well, and then the problems that they had with the bike last week, it just demoralizes you, because he came into Southwick 1 week ago, minus 25 in the championship. That's a full moto's worth of points, and he was looking for something special. Okay, I got 6 motos to go. If I can turn this thing around and I can get back to winning, I can close this thing up. But then he has 2 DNFs on the day, and it's just demoralizing. And it's really tough to go out there and race at this level when you know that the championship is gone. And that's the difference. The flip side of this is Villopoto and Dungey both are riding for the ultimate goal, for the championship, the bonuses, everything that goes along with that. And I say it every year at this time, when you're battling for the championship, the intensity's there, the motivation is there, and you really separate yourself from the competition.
And a little bit further back from Reed comes Brayton. That's our Fuel TV 1 to watch. And like we said, he's very fast on this track. Podiums here the last 2 years, a moto win 2 years ago.
Yeah, notching the triple there.
Yeah. And he's got Alessi behind him. Some rumors here that Brayton might be moving on to the factory Honda team. That's the word in the pits today. I don't know if that's official yet,
but good for him. Then the Joe Gibbs Racing team, they're going to be back next year. Maybe not with Brayton, but they're shopping for riders as well. So many different things are happening in the sport, not only the racing on the track, but who's going to sign with who for next year.
Well, it is the silly season, right?
What they call it. It's Alessi here behind Brayton. Not sure where he's going to end up next year. Could end up staying with this Red Bull KTM team.
And I'm not sure why they call it the silly season, because it's actually quite serious.
Quite serious. I believe it or not, I looked it up, and I think it's because the start of the year was connected to the Indian summer that was known to have a silly moon. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I looked that up one time.
Well,
I'll
fans,
clarify.
That's why we have Jason Wygant here with us for just a wealth of knowledge,
well,
not only in motocross, but in...
That was a butchered version of it. Let's see who's tracking Alessi here, and this is the issue. Alessi has been in this position much more often than I think most people expected. Usually Alessi is lightning fast off the start. Now he's a sandwich between the Muscle Toyota Joe Gibbs riders, Les Smith with 44 and the 10 of Brayton. I haven't seen the starts from Alessi we usually expect.
Nah, and he needs that start, especially on a day like today where Dungey and Villopoto have notched 229s. Okay, Alessi was at a 236.8. Do the math on that each lap. And today, our two championship title contenders have really separated themselves. I mean, they are just head and shoulders above the rest of the competition.
Kyle Regal, the next rider in line, picked up a ride here with this BTOsports.com Suzuki squad. The Butler brothers running that, and he is upside top 10, so he's got to be happy.
Joining Michael Byrne on that, and his teammate suffering from a bad start. He's down around 20th, 18th.
And there comes Jimmy Albertson coming through next on the Valley Motorsports Rockstar Yamaha, as we try to show you some of the riders in the field. And then behind him, is that the Canadian? Is that Colton Fasciotti coming through next?
Look like a Lucas Oil Honda rider, yep.
Yeah, that's a good story there. That's your multi-time Canadian national champ who's picked up the replacement ride on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda for the injured Christian Craig. Meanwhile, back to the leaders, it's still the Ryans. And how many times at this track, Jeff, have we seen this scenario break out? Long series, a lot of riders in contention. It boils down to two at the end of the year, and we come to Steel City, and those two riders are the ones breaking away. That little extra push that you seem to talk about every year when we come to this track. Oh, too much push. And Dungey goes off the track and nearly hands the lead over to Villopoto.
Last lap around, they dropped it from a 229 to a 227. But that little mistake right there, that's going to fuel the fire for Villopoto, thinking, okay, if I press him right now, I can possibly force him into a mistake. And for Dungey, he's just got to keep his cool. I mean, this is like a chess match at this point. Early on in this, everyone's trying to feel out the lines. They're trying to see where each other's at as far as the lap times.
And as far as the race strategy goes, Jeff, we've seen a lot of races this year where Villopoto was willing to take those chances on the early laps and got away. Today, it's Dungey pushing the envelope early on.
Yeah, watch right here. Now, he's been riding the inside line, and right here, he gets his weight to the left side, the outside, just a little bit. So he decides to pop the clutch a little bit, give it a throttle to keep the front wheel from falling in one of those other lines as his momentum took him to the left.
So Villopoto got to see that firsthand, so he knows that maybe you just put a little pressure on. Maybe he can get around Dungey that way.
Wow, look at these guys. They're doing a double and then a triple single through there. No doubt part of that 227 lap time.
We'll just talk real quick about the jumps on this track compared to what we had in the sand last week.
Yeah, this is night and day difference in these racetracks, and it's going to get extremely rough and rutted, but certainly it's got that Supercross style feel to it.
All right, well, Villopoto is Supercross champ this year. Dungey was Supercross champ last year. I don't know who that favors. It's going to be a great race between the Ryans up front early at Steel City.
Every rider is measured.
No change in the order here at the Steel City National, round 11 of the 12-race Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's still Ryan Dungey here on the yellow number 1, leading the green number 2 of Villopoto, but this is not a very big lead and it's still early in the race.
Yeah, you can see Dungey has stretched it out just a little bit, and if you really focus on where that roost is coming off the back of Dungey's bike, that's probably about the distance Villopoto is going to be behind.
See the countdown clock at the top of the screen, 18 minutes and then 2 more laps left in this race, so we're not even near the halfway point. Don't miss the premiere of the Moto Inside the Outdoors. That's next weekend, September 10th, right after our final first Motos of the year live on Fuel TV. So you can take a look at the real story behind the ride. That's Saturday, September 10th, 6 Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, only on Fuel TV next weekend. There will be a huge block of motocross racing behind the scenes and in front of the scenes next weekend. A banner weekend for the sport for Pala. We'll have back-to-back first Motos live here on Fuel TV. We'll have the premiere of the Moto and then switch over to Speed, and we'll have the final 2 Motos of the year, Moto 2s, live on Speed. So an unbelievable jam-pack. That's what, 5 hours motocross?
Are you in shape for that, Jason?
Too late now.
Gonna have to just do it, huh? You're gonna have to dig deep, okay?
That's right.
Raise the intensity up. Titles are on the line.
Last round, I'm just like Villopoto and Dungey, right? We got to put that extra push.
Look at the gap here between 4th and 5th. That was Metcalfe to win by, and Chad Reed, who is at the 2:32 lap time range. Our leaders are 2:27.
Yeah,
coming around here, trying to work his way forward.
Reed's got some ground to make up, but that's what you're talking about. Those lap times there, 5 seconds off. He was right there. And I'd say the most heartbreaking thing for Reed, moments before that crash, that has kind of taken the wind out of his sails, so to speak.
Millville, yeah.
In Millville, he had passed Dungey and Villopoto to take the lead in the second Moto of the year and had beaten Dungey in the first Moto that day. He was riding the best he had ridden all summer up until that moment. So it wasn't like the title was slipping away.
Yeah.
It really came down to that one incident.
You got that right. And, trying to put this TwoTwo Motorsports Honda into a good position, possibly a podium. They're backed by Bel-Ray this year. Bunch of good people on board, and you know those DNFs last year were really hard, or last week were really heartbreaking. Not only for Honda, the manufacturer, but all of the great guys that work on TwoTwo Motorsports, you know, and they put such a big effort into it. So just a frustrating end of the championship all around for the 2-2.
Yeah, and obviously the standards were set very high when you lead the point standings early on. So we know that Chad's probably bummed about the way it's turned out, but let's hear from the man himself.
I mean, it's tough to put into words. You know, you come so far, and you know, as a team, you try to build from Supercross. You know, it was our first year ever, and you know, we achieved getting second, won 2 races, and then we're on a roll in outdoors. You know, we were winning races, won 4 overalls, and we had a good points lead. And Millville kind of set us back a little bit, and then you try to rebuild from that. You know, try to realize that it was really a bigger issue than what it really was. You try to just, you know, dust it under the rug, and it never went away. You know, I just was never riding at my best. So rebound and then come back at Southwick with 2 DNFs. It's disappointing, and it's tough to finish off the season. You know, like you come here to win races and with the hope of winning a title, and that the hopes, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel is really, really small right now. And so, you know, we're just trying to finish off the seasons with the most overalls, try to get another 1 or 2, and get ready for Donations.
Donations is the world team race that comes up the weekend after our final American motocross round. What do you think when you watch Reed here? Are you seeing a different level of intensity? Are you seeing anything different about the way he's riding now compared to a month ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's all different.
Really?
Like you mentioned, at that point when he made the pass and then the massive crash that millions and millions of people have seen, it was just, you know, he had a handle on the championship. And we were at the halfway point, okay? Puts himself into a great position. And let's take a look here at this massive get-off earlier this season.
Yeah, and again, he's in the process of taking the lead from Villopoto. He's taking the lead, and then this. One of the wildest crashes we have ever seen. Got some footage here, and so lucky he landed on that grass embankment. When he was up in the air, the first thing that ran through my mind is, we're not going to see Chad Reed ride maybe ever again.
Yeah, you know, and I've been in that situation where you're flying through the air and you're rolling up the windows, and then we saw these images where the bike's in great shape. This Honda is dialed in, and he gets back on and has this heroic ride to get points in the moto. But then it let these 2 riders back in the championship, and Chad admittedly says mentally, you know, with all of the media coverage that he received from that, I really think that was a negative effect, because it just kept reminding him of how lucky he was to walk away from that. And when you race at this level, you put all of that, all of the dangers of the sport and anything, you put that out of your mind, because you cannot ride at the level that these 2 gentlemen are at if you're worried about those types of injuries.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the two Ryans here, Dungey the leader, Villopoto in second, they're not worried about anything except going as fast as they possibly can right now. And if that means pushing the envelope a little bit, they're more than willing to do it because the championship is on the line. You talked about it at the top of this show. If Villopoto beats Dungey in this moto, begins to control his own destiny in a way over the final 3 races with an 11-point lead. So Dungey needs to win this one. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 1 of Dungey?
You guys are talking about pushing the envelope. As soon as Dungey went by, his mechanic, Mike Gosler, had put on the pit board smooth traction, reminding him to stay smooth. The smoother he rides, the more traction he's going to have out there. This is something that they've all been struggling all day long.
Yeah, well, Jeff, we touched on that earlier. A different surface, different layout than we had at Southwick, and a lot of the riders in practice saying how slippery this track was.
Yeah, it looked pretty good, but it looked nice and tacky from where I was sitting. But once you've got all that horsepower from these 450s, you know, you really have to be good with your throttle control as you're rounding these turns and heading back up the hills.
Oh, we've got a great scenario shaping up here with just over 10 minutes and 2 laps to go. We're into the final half of this one. Dungey trying to hold Villopoto at bay.
Relationships fail. Systems fail. Failure.
Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship continues. Ryan Dungey leading the way over Ryan Villopoto, but by a very small margin. Little mistakes here from Dungey. See if he can hang on. Next Tuesday, it's the world television premiere of Strangers in Danger right here on Fuel TV. Best friends and pro BMXers Mike Rooftop Escamilla and Zach Catfish Yankish. They're lightly packed, but heavily insured, and they're on a mission to take on some of the most extreme, bizarre, and dangerous experiences around the globe. So check it out, Strangers in Danger, Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. And Dungey's in a little bit of danger now, and they are strangers, lap riders, and he's got to maneuver his way through.
Yeah, he's trying to work his way through. Got through the 2 riders there, split the middle. But just before this, just as we were coming back on the air, Dungey had an incredibly close call with another lap rider. I'm telling you, that's this tough point when you know, you're running so much faster than the other riders.
And maybe that's what Villopoto's waiting for, a mistake, an opening from Dungey. He's got a lot closer. Let's take us through this moment, Jeff.
Yeah, watch this. He's got a lap rider in front of him, and he comes into the inside here, and he's going to try to stay to the right over this double. But watch, see the lap rider on the left. Watch Dungey. His momentum takes it, his balance gets off a little bit, and he almost jumps into the back of that lap rider.
Working on another one. Working on another lap rider there, Jeff, and that's it. That could be the whole series.
Yeah, and if you're riding Villopoto, you're riding a nice cautious race right now, and you're seeing all of those little mistakes that Dungey is making. Even though Dungey's putting in a fantastic ride, great lap times, all that, but Dungey doesn't see Villopoto if he's, you know, struggling at all, if he's got his feet off, or if he almost goes down. He can't see that. So the mental game that's being played right now, this chess match, is, you know, from behind, you have the advantage of being able to see what's happening in front of you. In front, obviously, the advantage is you're up front, and you're throwing the roost off to the guy behind you.
And then does Dungey, when he makes a mistake, does he also know that Villopoto saw that? And does that worry him a little bit?
Yeah, of course, of course.
I just showed a weakness. So there's a lot going on here in the heads of these riders. They get through another lap rider. That's Ricky Dietrich. Luckily for Dungey, no one in his path this time over this double.
You see Villopoto, he's starting to put the hammer down now. 6 minutes plus 2 laps, and this is when it's really going to start to intensify. And if you go back 1 week ago to Moto 1, it was at the end of Moto 1 after Dungey had that nice, comfortable lead that Villopoto really put the pressure on Ryan Dungey to finish it off. How about this kid, Barsha, in third? And again, that first lap, he passed Villopoto, and that slowed him up just enough for Dungey to get by. And sorry to cut you off there, Jeff. We're going to send it down to Aaron with more on Barsha.
Justin Barsha is another rider that has been struggling to get any kind of traction whatsoever today. They have done a couple of changes with tire combinations, both the front and rear. Looks as though they do have some traction out there right now, as he's got third in the bag at the moment.
He does, but Brett Metcalfe is right there. Aaron, did anyone say they weren't struggling to find traction on this track today? Is that the overarching theme, it seems?
Every person down here has been saying the same thing, and the unfortunate thing is the track has changed so much from morning till the afternoon. It rained heavily yesterday. It was soggy this morning. It's deep ruts, and as pardon me, as of right now, it looks as though there's a little bit of dust blowing, so things have definitely dried out.
And here comes Metcalfe putting the attack on Barsha. So let's see who has better traction through this corner. Barsha's going to beat Metcalfe to the inside.
And I tell you what, Jason, what I'm seeing is a very controlled Justin Barsha. He's trying to find some smooth lines right now. Wow, he just splashes Metcalfe, but Metcalfe takes over third.
Wow. Oh, and Barsha, the two lines came together, and Barsha bumps the back tire of Metcalfe, lucky to stay upright.
Yeah, now, even though he's lost the position, Justin Barsha is showing a lot more respect for this 450 Honda than he had in the previous two rides when he was the wild child, and especially those images from last week in the rain at Southwick when he was absolutely out of control going for it, and it worked for him. A track like here today, he's got to respect it more. He's got to be more in control because of the lack of traction.
Well, I think that's what's making even this battle for the lead deceiving between Dungey and Villopoto. You want to think that you're going to see these guys riding almost over their heads to try to beat each other, but on this track, is that going to work?
Well, it's interesting. Dungey is always perfect with his technique, and he's always in control. He's letting his inside leg kind of dangle around a little bit here today, so he's got the fast but loose vibe going here today, like where he's not tight and everything is, you know, textbook. He's kind of a little loose on the bike, letting it flow around, and when it's choppy like this, that's what you have to do, is to let the bike go a little bit under you, and because if you're holding on so tight, you're going to feel every one of those bumps, every little jar of the machine.
Oh, Villopoto not only closing in, but he tripled in to that little section of jumps. Clear to 3 jumps in 1. He's ready to go.
Wow, now that's a hot line. I walked that during practice, and I looked at it, and I'm going, why are these guys not jumping it? It looks great from
Looks
where
easy.
I was at.
Yeah.
It looked really easy. Of course, is always the case, but then you get on the track and things change. But this is going to be a situation where if Ryan Villopoto can execute that triple next to Dungey, then he can possibly use it.
Oh, he's next to him right now, Jeff. He goes to the inside. This apparently is Villopoto's time to go and pull the trigger, and you think he's got a spot maybe picked out.
Exactly. Now, what I was saying on that triple, if he can do it next to Dungey, he can use it as a passing spot. If he has to jump it in the same line, then he can't. It's only going to make up time.
Let's send it down to Aaron. What's happening there in the mechanics area, Aaron? Going to try to talk to Mike Gosler.
That's right. We're trying to grab Mike Gosler here as Ryan just went by. Mike, it looks like he's got some company on his back wheel right now, but he's riding a lot more loose than what we've seen him in the past. Is he just going for it at this point?
I think so. I mean, that's the most aggressive I've seen him on the first lap, you know, and boy, these two guys are just, they're moving. They're like head and shoulders above everybody else, and it's amazing to see.
Pressure's on in a big way. We'll let you get back at it. Thank you.
And I think that's what we expected to see coming in. And Mike Gosler, who's seen Dungey log a lot of laps, he would know better than anyone to know that this championship has made these riders step up.
Yeah, and they're close to 6 seconds a lap faster than the competition. They are flying.
Wow, and that's what the championship scenario has done. It's made these two go to another level. But who will reach the highest level by the time this one is over? You got to stay with us. It is on right now between the Ryans, Villopoto and Dungey. It's as close as they have been since the start of this race. Whoever wins this moto is going to have a huge advantage as the championship begins to head toward our finale next week at Palin, California. Villopoto on the 2, Dungey on the number 1.
Last time around at the finish line, Villopoto was a 2:26.5 and Dungey a 2:27 flat. Okay, so he closed it up. And just a few moments before we came back on the air, it was even closer than it is now. Villopoto putting on the charge. He's got to know at this point that if he can win this moto and Dungey was to finish second, that's going to put him 11 points ahead in the championship. And it would conceivably put him in a position where he didn't have to win any of the remaining motos to still win the title. And it's a step. It obviously doesn't lock up the championship in any shape or form, but it puts you in a good position to be a little more comfortable and have a little margin for error.
And this is another area Villopoto likes to put the attack on. And Jeff, you were telling me earlier the difference in lap times between these two and everyone else on the track. It's a huge lead for them right now, nearly a minute over third place. That's how hard they are pushing each other.
Yeah, watch as they're going through this section. There's some loose sections, there's some rutted section. They come down these off cambers, and there's some parts of the track here where they're trying to get on the throttle. It'll be just past the finish line area. But they're trying to get on the throttle, and it is completely hard-packed, even wet in spots, no traction. This is Villopoto's spot around the outside.
Dungey's got it covered. Dungey shifted to that inside line.
That is a smart move by Ryan Dungey. He's not going to allow Villopoto to have any chance at passing him there. 2-lap board is out. Here's that slippery spot, Jason.
And Villopoto's run this outside line a couple times. Now Dungey goes out there to block it, and he ends up right in front of Villopoto as they race past the mechanics area with 2 laps to go.
I tell you, I don't like seeing these lapped riders in the way, because if the lapped rider makes a mistake, because this group catches him so fast, and he's not able to get out of one of those deep ruts that kind of is like the only line, that's going to allow, if Villopoto's a very smart rider, he's going to know not to follow that line, and that could really hold up Dungey in this scenario. But look at how hard Villopoto is pushing into the turns.
That's unbelievable. They're holding on to the motorcycles. They are just absolutely tapped everywhere around this track. Right-hand corner. Dungey made a big mistake there earlier. He's got it covered this time. Now back downhill, a left-hander. Villopoto to the inside. Dungey able to squirt back past him.
Villopoto on the season has 7 moto wins, and Dungey's got 5. Of course, Villopoto is your points leader, and he's trying to make it 8 right here. And like I said, that'll put him in a really nice position with 3 to go.
And here we are. This is what they call the Sky Coaster, a series of 3 double jumps winding its way across the top of the hill. Now they'll drop back down. And here's an area where Dungey made a mistake earlier. Like we said, he's made some mistakes. He's hung it out, but so far he's hung on to the lead.
And it seems like each rider has got a section on the track where they're really quick, okay? And what I love about this time of the season is we've got a lap and a half to go. We've got over 30 minutes of racing in this moto alone. These are the best riders, the fastest riders in the world.
Right.
And their physical fitness is in such peak condition, they're not even dropping off their lap times at all. In fact, as this thing gets down to the checkered flag, it may be the last lap that both rider turns in their fastest, because they have to, because they're pushing for that win.
That is unbelievable. Here we go. Headed toward the white flag. Villopoto around the outside, sideways on that Kawasaki, able to keep it under him. And Dungey maintaining the momentum on the inside. This is it. They're headed toward the white flag. Does Villopoto have a spot picked out this last time around where he can make the move? Here's an area he tried to use earlier, and Dungey's got him covered.
I think he had a spot, but Dungey has now made a move in this chess match to, oh, there it is, white flag, 1 to go. Riders just turned to 2:27.5 for both riders.
And the third place rider, Metcalfe, ran a 2:35. They are 8 seconds faster than the third place rider, who is obviously very fast in his own right.
A lap, 8 seconds,
8 seconds
a lap, not an 8-second gap between second and third.
No, that shows you what Villopoto, the pressure he's applying to Dungey, can do. Dungey trying to maintain his pace. There's a downhill section.
And each rider knows how important this single moto win is. As we get closer to the final moto of the season, each moto is going to be so critical. Dungey so far has had the lead. I'm telling you, you may think Villopoto's working hard from behind, but for Dungey to be up front and to keep it together, the mental strain and how strong mentally you have to be at this point to ride out front like this is just, it's incredible.
I think this is about as close as Villopoto has been through this section of the course at any point in the moto, except for the first lap. So he's got an opportunity here. Dungey able to edge away just a bit downhill.
And watch it as we come up to some of these spectator areas, how the spectators are responding here. Beautiful day here at Steel City. Over 90 degrees, feels like over 100 with the humidity, and these riders are just putting in perfect rides. I mean, just no mistakes for either rider.
Or no ones that are huge. They've exchanged a few mistakes. That's expected when they're hanging it out on the edge like this. Dungey has survived the first half of this last lap. Now we're on the other side of the valley. Can he still hold off Villopoto?
This is going to be close because Villopoto is so fast in that finish line area just before there. Watch Villopoto. He's on the outside.
Send him up for these jumps. Villopoto's going to triple. Not able to make the pass.
Oh, Dungey overjumps that tabletop. Villopoto, oh, now Villopoto makes the mistake.
Wow, Dungey landed, yeah, about 5 feet beyond the landing.
Makes another mistake.
Here comes Villopoto around the outside, full throttle.
So Dungey wisely blocks the inside there, but can Villopoto square him up?
Only got about 3-4 corners to go. Here it is, right-hand turn. Dungey able to maintain it with a few lap riders in front of him.
Couple lap riders, where are they going to go? That's Les Smith and Michael Byrne. This could be the decision maker right here.
Now Villopoto's on the right side where he was on the left earlier. He's going to go for it and take the lead and the win in the last corner. Unbelievable finish. Ryan Villopoto grabs the lead in the last turn of a 30-minute and 2-lap battle with Ryan Dungey. Maybe the greatest race we've ever seen at this racetrack.
Wow. The last turn. And you can see that he was setting him up, and he stayed in it, and he stayed focused.
Wow. They just exchanged mistakes. Both of them had several moments where they're out of shape. They were pushing so hard, and Ryan Dungey did everything but win that moto. He essentially led every turn.
No doubt at that point that for Ryan Dungey with the lead, there's so many things in your head to focus on.
That's incredible. We have to catch our breath. Check this out. A couple of lap riders Dungey had to worry about, and of course he had to worry about Villopoto as well. This might have been the first time Villopoto ever took this line, and it pays off for him. This is the margin of victory between the 2 and the 1. We'll be back to talk to them right after this.
You ready?
Fuel TV. Welcome back to Steel City, and these fans on hand here in Delmont, Pennsylvania have witnessed one of the greatest motocross races we have ever witnessed, and we'll take you through it with our race recap. Starts out with Ryan Dungey stealing the lead from Justin Barcia, who had stolen the lead from Ryan Villopoto early.
And then it becomes a bit of a chess match after Villopoto gets past Barcia.
There he is, working him, and then takes over the number 2 spot. And then we had the setup, Jeff, for the championship phase. Ryan Dungey, Ryan Villopoto 1-2.
Yeah, riders were just, the 2 leaders were just feeling each other out. And Villopoto has a line here. And 2 or 3 laps in a row goes up the inside. And that's going to be critical as we move into the final lap here. Once again, Villopoto shows Dungey a wheel. Dungey picks up on that line before the end of the race, though.
Yeah, so now Dungey goes to the left. On the last lap, last turn, Villopoto switches to the right and makes the pass as they go to the checkered flag. Incredible racing down to the last inch of that one. We'll give you the results. Of course, the big story, the Ryans out front. Villopoto tops Dungey, but a great run from Metcalfe and Barcia 3rd and 4th. Reed 5th. Sure, he's not too happy about that. We'll give you the full rundown all the way through the top 40. Colton Fasciotti in his first race on that Lucas Troy Lee Honda team finishes in the top 10. Kyle Chisholm has been hovering around the top 10 since coming back from injury. Nico Izzi making his 450 debut today, ends up 24th on the Valley Motorsports Yamaha. And there's the rest of the top 40. Let's send it down to Aaron with your winner, Ryan Villopoto. Aaron?
If you're riding at 110%, mistakes are bound to happen. Both Ryans had mistakes out there. But take us through all the way down to that very last corner. Were you just waiting for the moment to strike?
Yeah, you know, the track's pretty one line, and I got a great start, but Justin and Ryan got around me up there, but you know, I just stuck behind him. It was kind of like cat and mouse. He'd pull away, I'd catch him, pull away, catch him. And I had a pretty good line here the last probably 5 laps I was taking, and you know, I was able just to get him right before the finish. So everybody at Monster Energy Kawasaki's helped me out a lot. Dunlop to the great tires to get me out to a good start.
You needed those points desperately. What are your thoughts now with 3 motos left of the season?
Just get through today. It'd be awesome to have another moto like that and get a win, but you know, just be smart.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habit, wildest late night party on television, weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. That's the wildest late night party. I think the wildest Saturday afternoon party is right here in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. What a race these fans got to watch. Check out the Daily Habit every weeknight at 11 p.m. And Ryan Dungey, well, we got the thrill of victory from Villopoto. Some agony of defeat there for the Dunge. We'll catch up with him when we return.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Welcome back to Steel City. 450 Moto 1 is in the books, and Ryan Dungey ended up leading that entire moto all the way down to that very last turn. Ryan, take us through the emotions, the frustrations, and how to regroup from this point.
It was just a little unfortunate, you know. Leading that whole race felt good, you know. Felt like I had a strong pace, but I knew we were going to go at it to the end, but when it came to that last second to last corner, it just kind of caught me different, you know. And it's racing though, you know. I think it's important that we just keep our head up and we got another moto, a lot of racing left, so it's just a matter of regrouping and getting back to it.
How much did lappers play effect in that last race?
A little bit, you know. It's I can't really blame them, you know. It's everybody's got to deal with them, but track's slippery, and just tire was kind of going a little bit, but Dunlop was working awesome. They did a great job, and all team Rockstar Makita Suzuki did a fantastic job, so thanks to them, and we'll get back out there ready for Moto 2.
Well, the way this season has turned out, you do not want to miss the premiere of the Moto Inside the Outdoors on September 10th. Take place right after our live first Motos next week from Pala. Take a look at the real story behind the ride. That's Saturday, September 10th, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, only on Fuel TV. They mic up mechanics, family members, riders. They follow the guys to their house when they train during the week. Everything you want to know about this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Check it out next week on Fuel TV. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
Brett Metcalfe off his very first overall of your career last weekend to start up here on the podium for the day. Brett, is today all about throttle control out on this track?
100% throttle control. It's so deceiving out there. You get into a nice tacky rut, and then on the exit it just turns into absolute concrete. A lot of wheel spin. Dunlop tires are working good out there for me though. Rockstar Makita Suzuki, and just another good moto for me. Looking forward to the next one and getting this Thor race gear up here, the new gear up here, looking good, and try and do another one.
Momentum continues to roll for Brett Metcalfe.
Give you a look at the upcoming schedule here. Don't forget, next weekend we are live. All 4 motos will be live. Our first motos on Fuel TV, and then our final 2 motos on Speed. And of course, every Thursday night we have our highlight show. So that's this Thursday, September 8th, 10 p.m. Highlights from Steel City, and then next Thursday, season highlights from Pala and the rest of the tour. Folks, when we come back, we'll review another historic championship moment as we talk about 40 years of American motocross history. This one, the day Tony D had to try to hold off Bob Hanna to win the 250 AMA National Championship. We'll have more on that when we return on Fuel TV.
Experiments fail.
With a new mechanic and a target on his back, Tony D would only need the motivation from some fellow Pennsylvanians to win his 3rd 250cc AMA title and become AMA's Pro Athlete of the Year.
Now the things turn. I was the young guy, the up-and-coming guy. Now I was the guy, with 2 titles to like nobody likes. I remember Preston Petty telling me, like, who does Bob Hanna like you? Who likes you, Tony, here? who wants, you're the guy. Well, I needed 2nd to 1st or 3rd place to 1st moto to win the title. The crowd's like just Tony D being in Pennsylvania. And I just happened to look over and the fence breaks. All these people fall. And it just gave me the motivation. It was just like the greatest one to just go ahead, and I won the moto.
And it's interesting, you look at Tony D. He says he didn't necessarily have to win that moto, but he went out and executed it with that strong ride. I believe that's what we just saw from Ryan Villopoto, was that type of ride, that type of motivation.
Yeah, that's right. He did not have to win it, but he definitely helped his cause there. But as Ryan Dungey says, lots of racing to go, including our 250 class up next.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Well, totally different conditions last week. We were racing in the sand of Southwick, and then Hurricane Irene started to show up. There were crashes, there was mud, there was some heartbreak as well. But there was also some jubilation as Gareth Swanepoel took his first ever win in the United States in the first moto. Tyler Rattray took the overall victory, and Dean Wilson survived to take a solid finish and hold on to the points lead. That sets the stage for today's 250 Moto 1 here at Steel City, live on Fuel TV. It's the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Let's give you the big picture storylines we're following in this class. First, the international stars shine in our last race. Swanepoel from South Africa, as mentioned, wins the first moto. Rattray from South Africa wins the overall. And Wilson is the points leader. He is from Scotland and even spent some time racing in Canada. So it was an all-international podium. Dean Wilson is nearing the championship. He's got a 38-point lead with 2 races. That's 4 motos left. Of course, anything can happen, but he was the fastest rider in practice today, so certainly he is looking good for yet another solid result. Only 1 overall win for Dean this year, but he's only finished off the podium in a moto twice so far this season. He's been very consistent. So that's the scenario in this 250 division that was so close just a few races ago. You could throw a blanket over Wilson, Rattray, and also Blake Baggett. But bad races for Baggett and Rattray as of late have opened it up for Wilson. He's got to avoid those bad races now as we're in the stretch run.
Here we're taking a look at the 533 of Gannon Audette, a rookie this season, and he is our one to watch. He's only had 2 top 10 moto finishes, and it's been a bit of a rough road for him this season. Came in with a lot of potential, but now at the end of this championship, he's finally starting to find his groove with this DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha team, and the whole team has put in an excellent job this summer.
Well, he was a rookie out of the amateur ranks basically 1 year ago. This was his first full year as a pro, but now that team has a new rookie in the ranks, Kyle Peters. He just fresh out of the amateur ranks this year. So Audette maybe feel a little pressure with a new kid on the block into the 10. See how it turns out in Moto 1. Looks like Wilson trying to control it. Pretty easy to pick him out. He's got that red number plate because he is your series points leader. 66, Jimmy Dakotas, and the Geico Honda tucking in right behind Wilson. But that's exactly where Dino wants to be, up front.
Hey, that's how it's done. He's got a huge points lead right now, but there's no better way to wrap up the title, or at least to inch your way closer, than to grab the whole shot and give yourself a great chance. Because once you get back in the pack, especially here in the 250 class, it gets pretty shaken up, especially on Moto 1, and a lot can happen. You seem to get a lot luckier when your starts are good, right?
Check out the 891, Justin Bogle, another one of those rookies, fresh out of the amateur division, and he takes over second from his teammate Dakotas. So Bogle, who has been very fast in his first 2 pro races, looking even better here in his 3rd one, and he wants to try to run with Wilson.
I believe that this is the type of track that a rider like Justin Bogle, it resembles you know, a lot of the amateur tracks, and I think when you come into the professional ranks as an amateur, it's really speed and talent based. It's a little less. Oh, look at
jumping it! Very
few of the riders,
rare. Yeah, not many riders have done that, Jeff.
But Bogle, I believe that he's primed for a good moto like this, but it's going to be tough right now because, look, he's got the series points leader. 7 moto wins Dean Wilson has, with only 1 overall, but 38-point lead coming into this event. He's racing with arguably the fastest 250 rider in the world this season.
And doing a good job hanging with him. How about 3rd place is Ryan Sipes, another one of those Star Racing Yamaha riders. And Sipes has ridden a lot of laps in this track. He used to ride this thing as an amateur, so he knows the way around. So he is up to the number 3 position. Oh, there's Sipes on the 25. He's gotten around Dakotas. And now trying to go after Bogle for the number 2 spot.
Jason, the track is really getting rough at this point, but during the break, we've seen some images of the track where they put down some water. Remember those shiny spots? We heard the comments from the 450 riders just a minute ago, from Metcalfe, about how you come out of a nice sticky groove in the turn, then it would just turn to concrete. That's what it's going to be like for these riders, where there's dust in certain spots, nice tacky ruts, but look at all the water that they put down in front of the mechanics area here. And you see the bikes kind of sliding around under these guys as they're trying to fight for traction on the edge of that tire in this situation of these off-camber turns.
Look at Bogle. Bogle trying to pass your series points leader Wilson for the lead.
Let's see if he squares him up around the outside. Oh, wow. Wilson shuts the door. This is exactly what Dean Wilson does not want, is to have to deal with any rookie who's not even in the points chase whatsoever. But going back to the finish line, Wilson came around with the lead, and it was Rattray that sits back in 6th.
Yeah, and Rattray's rider 2nd in points. And by the way, it's a little early to start talking about that, but Wilson could wrap up the title today if Rattray is a bad race.
Rattray and Baggett. Baggett's only a couple points behind Rattray. But it's interesting, Baggett right now is just outside of the top 10. And earlier in the season, it looked like he might run away with this championship. claims he's been suffering from bad starts, and he's really worked on that, especially this week. You know, we spoke to him at the pro circuit rig there for a little bit. Outside of the top 10 off the start, does not look like that he executed this first motor start like he wanted to.
The guy we got to talk to more is this 891 Justin Bogle, who is there pulling away a bit from the third place rider Sykes. And he is giving Wilson all he can handle. And we have seen rookies come in their very first pro race. The adrenaline's flowing, the pressure is off. They log a great race.
Well, it was his teammate.
Third one.
Yeah, it was his teammate
exactly.
Eli Tomac only 1 year ago. Won the opening round at Hangtown.
And hasn't won a race since. What's impressive to me about Bogle, he was great in his first race, but he's been arguably better in these next two. Had a great finish, fourth at our last moto at Southwick, and here he is battling for the lead at Steel City.
Oh, there's such a tendency to jump off to the left side of the track on that uphill double. Bogle really, you know, riding the thin line there.
Oh, those are rookies too, right? The consistency, they're not worried about that. They just want to go fast.
Yeah, Bogle's got a cool style too. He like off that tabletop there, kind of jumping with his inside leg off. Both feet off there. That's going to happen every now and then, especially at a track like this. These ruts, as you come, you know, through those uphill sections there. When I walked the track earlier today in qualifying practice, I mean, those lines were so deep, and it wasn't such a big deal because it was fairly wet then. But now this clay is hardened up. You know, imagine if you're, you know, shaping a clay pot, and when it's wet, it's slippery, so that makes it difficult. But yet it kind of moves around. But then, as it hardens up, you know, it doesn't move, and that's what's happened here.
Oh, trouble for the 71 of Nick Paluzzi, and I'll try Morris. Aaron, what's happening down there?
Mechanics are taking a look at his bike right now, but Ryan, maybe you could explain to us what went on out there. Can you explain to us what went on out there? Your mechanics are vigorously working on your bike right now.
I got a good start and I was running up there, but my head pipe broke and fell off.
How tough are the conditions right now out there? How tough are the conditions out there right now?
It reminds me of Supercross. It's pretty slippery, but it's really one line. But oh well, we'll regroup and get him second moto.
All right, tough luck for Mo. I confused the 71 Suzuki with the 72 of Paluzzi. Man, they're working hard.
Yeah, but it's incredible his positive attitude at that point. I mean, he's easily going to be a lap down.
Yeah, well, going to go out there, I guess, some laps, learn something. Or maybe not. We'll find out if Morris gets back into this one when we return. Give you a tour of the track here, brought to you by Kawasaki and that all-new KX450F for 2012. Jeff, take us on a lap.
Well, of course, the start was important. Dean Wilson grabbed the whole shot, and then he controls it. Uphill, downhill. The track is pretty much off camber, even in the sections where it looks flat on TV. In reality, all of these turns, you're really using the edge of the tire to get traction. It's starting to dry out. It's getting extremely hard packed. Now they put some water down in spots, so it's going to get really slippery in those spots. And really hard, deep, rutted turns are going to make it really tricky for the riders.
Has not been tricky so far for your leader, Dean Wilson. He's got Justin Bogle about 3 seconds behind him. You see the countdown clock at the top of the screen. 20 minutes and 2 laps left in this one. And we'll focus on the third place battle. On the blue bike is Ryan Sipes. On the red is Eli Tomac. Sipes has had a up and down year. More downs than ups, unfortunately, in motocross after getting a few wins on the indoor Supercross tour. Trying to rebuild the program here today, running in third.
Yeah, and you know a little bit about this condition that he had while he you know, he had an illness that he was suffering over the last month, right?
This is Brock Tickle earlier in the race. More bad luck for him. Apparently some sort of bike problem. Tickle has had some bad luck this summer, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he's had some good rides lately, but this definitely doesn't build that momentum. You know, and if you're Mitch Payton, you've got a few bikes on the track. You've got 4 team riders, okay? Oh, here's a pass.
Tomac trying to make it happen, and the inside and now the outside of Sipes. That section of uphill jumps, will there be room? Whoa. Tomac made it happen without much despair. Almost tangled with Sipes, and if you do tangle with someone launching off that thing, you're going for a ride.
Yeah, when I flew into Pittsburgh here, I was with Tomac and his family, and the pilot announced that we were landing and the time was 2:43. And John and myself, we both looked at each other. Eli, is this a sign?
It's his old number, right?
Yeah.
His old number. I only hope the pilot took things a little easier compared to that takeoff by Tomac.
Yeah, he was flying there. There's no doubt about that.
And you got to watch Rattray on the number 28. Kawasaki is 5th, and he is not too far behind these two, Sipes and Tomac. And Tomac has had speed all year, but he has been talking about his starts, much like Brock Tickle, all year long. He's been struggling with the starts. He's actually gone to do some work on his starts with Jeremy McGrath. And Aaron, what are you hearing on the 19?
Well, you guys, he was so upset after what took place last weekend at Southwick. He said bad luck both motos. He's not mentally down. He said he's regrouped. He's trying to stay positive. His lower back has been injured, so he's been having muscle stints put on his back to relieve that. But he said today is all about revenge. Mistakes weren't his fault, and he expects to podium.
Okay, all right. Well, he's definitely fired up right now, Aaron. He's made the move on Sipes, but not able so far to get in sight of those leaders. They get about 8 seconds on Tomac Sipes right now. And here comes Rattray. Mention him. Wait a minute. Who have we finally found toward the front of the pack? Say the name right. You're better at it than I am, Jeff.
Marvin Muscan.
Nicely done. The Frenchman, who almost got slowed up a little bit there by Rattray, missed a whole bunch of races early in the year with a broken thumb. And since he has come back every week, I'm thinking we're going to see a breakthrough, maybe a podium from this guy. Hasn't happened yet, but he's on the charge right now.
Look at Marvin down the inside. Let's see if the short line prevails.
Oh, is he going to try to edge out Rattray? Wow, and he does. Rattray is not a guy you want to make contact with. He's one of the bigger, stronger riders in this 250 class, but Muscan was not afraid of that. He makes it happen.
Well, and it's interesting because last week at Southwick in the sand, you know, Rattray was almost unbeatable. He was so fast. He loves that style of track. And the flip side on that is that when you are so conditioned for, you know, to have a good ride and you love the sand, well, this is completely different. So, you know, you got to change your mindset to say, I like all the tracks, okay? Obviously today, Rattray doesn't quite have the edge on the competition like he did 1 week ago. Well, and that can't be like a, you know, like a conditioning thing or a bike setup. That's just purely, you know, speed on this style of track.
Next up, we have the 139 of Malcolm Stewart battling it out with Blake Baggett. So we finally found Baggett. They are 7th and 8th. That's that race here. Aaron has Brock Tickle, we believe, down in the pits. Aaron, what's happening?
If it wasn't for tough luck for Brock Tickle, it'd be no luck at all. But Brock, talking with you earlier this morning, you wanted so badly to end the season off on a positive note. It just continues to dwindle.
Yeah, you know, it's part of motocross, and this is what we do. So we're going to have to regroup and get ready for the second moto.
You know, it might not look as such a glaring problem for Tickle if the other 3 riders on his team weren't having so much good luck throughout the majority of the summer.
And I'm sure that everybody else is at home watching, you know, wants to know what happened to the bike. And the reason Aaron didn't ask him a question is so that it wasn't a pre-program. They're never going to tell you what happened.
They don't tell
bike.
you. No, they don't tell you what happened. Here is Baggett trying to make the move on the 139 of Stewart as they work their way downhill. Stewart, younger brother of James Stewart, is a former champion in this class, in this series. It is his rookie year, so he's seeing a lot of these tracks on the pro side for the first time. This is one of the few tracks that Baggett has actually raced on before. Came here in 2009 when he wrapped up his amateur career, basically to try to make a name for himself, and he had a great run for 4th in a moto at this event, and that really put him on the map. And he's going after Stewart right now.
Stewart putting in some great rides this season.
Yeah.
He's on that AMA Energy Suzuki City bike team that has struggled to find the talented riders to put them up in the position to get the notoriety that all of their hard work deserves. No doubt with Malcolm Stewart on this team this season, he really has been a standout. And overall, the team has done a fantastic job for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, trouble for Dakotas, who was up front early on. He's had good starts since returning to the tour after an elbow injury. Not able to quite put the finishes together, and now we see that Baggett has made the move on Stewart. But that will put Baggett in the 7th. That is not where he wants to be. This is a guy who won a whole bunch of motos and races earlier in the year.
And especially on this style of track, not far down the road at High Point. Earlier in the season, he absolutely demolished the competition. And it was this style of track that, you know, I was expecting Baggett to come here, get some starts, be able to ride through the pack, you know, if he needed to. But right now, Baggett's lap time's at 2:34. Wilson's at 2:36. You got Tomac, fastest rider on the track, at a 2:33. So not blazing speed. He's not slow by any means, but just not quite as fast compared to the competition as he was at a few races earlier this year. He had 3 races where he won both motos, just swept the day.
Yeah, and a lot of times doing it from behind, passing everyone to win the races. Has not had the magic here the last few races. And here's the problem. With Baggett in 7th and Rattray battling with Musquian there, a couple positions further back from your leader, Wilson. This is putting Wilson in position to maybe wrap up the championship later today. He needs to have a 51-point lead by the time it's all over.
So he needs to gain 13 points over Rattray.
Right.
And that'd be 15 over Baggett on the day to put himself at least 51 up. And he needs that on both riders. And then he'll actually lock down the championship with 1 race to go. And this championship was so close midway through the season that nobody would have predicted that at this race Wilson would have that type of gap. But a couple of DNFs by the competition and some great, consistently strong rides by Wilson has put him in that terrific position to win the championship.
Hey, remember this guy, the 387? 1 week ago exactly, Gareth Swanepoel was in the lead in the first moto at Southwick and won it. Now just trying to fight his way into the top 10, and it is the 72 of Nick Paluzzi, who is not out of the race. That was his teammate Ryan Morris, who is battling Swanepoel right now.
And Swanepoel there on that DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha is the only machine outside of a Pro Circuit Kawasaki that has been on the top step of the podium in a moto. So kind of breaking the streak that Mitch Bones and those guys had going, but still incredible ride and a strong way to back it up here.
Well, the South Africans sweeping that first moto last week in the sand with Rattray and Swanepoel. Not quite the same good fortune today, and certainly no good fortune for this man, Jimmy Dakotas. You're watching Justin Bogle here now in 3rd. His teammate Eli Tomac has run him down. And there's still a lot of young talent in the ranks for that Geico Honda team. And they were duking it out just a moment ago, Jeff.
Yeah, here's where Tomac's trying to get to the inside of Bogle. Bogle puts on a pretty good fight here, looks over at his teammate, and watch as they come down into here. Eli just carries a little more momentum around the outside. Nice push there.
Talk about racing 30 minutes and 2 laps for Bogle, who is used to racing in the amateur ranks, where the longest race you'd ever run at the Loretta Lynn Ranch National by Red Bull is 20 minutes, and that's long for an amateur race. A lot of them are much shorter.
Long and hot, but you can see on a day like today, you know, Justin Bogle seems to be well conditioned and well suited, and that's part of the program here, that this factory connection backed by Geico Power Sports and Honda, how the structure of their team is to sign an amateur rider. Same thing they did with Eli Tomac, same thing they did with Justin Barcia the year before that. Sign them a year before they turn pro,
right,
and have them integrated with the pro race team. And that's made the transition for Barcia, who came out of the box fast, Tomac, and now Bogle. It's made that so much easier for these riders to perform well early on in their pro career.
Baggett now has caught Rattray, so a battle is on between the teammates. You'd expect this to be maybe for the lead, but this time it's just to try to get into 6th. Rattray, and whoa, wait a minute, rider is down, trying to figure out who that is. We only saw a bike, didn't see anyone with it. It's 5th right now, Rattray and Baggett. And yeah, you touched on it earlier in this race. Totally different track and really totally different result for Rattray, who is clearly the man at Southwick.
Yeah, watch Baggett here on the inside. Got a little momentum. Let's see if he can square him up. Remember, Rattray got past there early on in this moto.
And yeah, they got passed by Musquian, who's gotten away from them. So it's a private duel between the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki teammates.
And this is for second in the championship, essentially, the points.
But we mentioned that Wilson, if he gains 13 on Rattray by the end of the day today, he'll have a 51-point lead. That would be enough to wrap up the title. Right now, Rattray is in 5th. They pay you 16 points for that. They pay 25 for a moto win. So Wilson would make up 9. on Rattray. So he would,
yeah, and then essentially he would only need, you know, a few more points in the next moto to lock this thing down.
Next Tuesday, it's the world television premiere of Strangers in Danger. Best friends and pro BMXers Mike Rooftop Escamilla and Zach Catfish Yankush are lightly packed and heavily insured, and they're on a mission. They're going to take on some of the most extreme, bizarre, and dangerous experiences around the globe. So check out Strangers in Danger Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern and Pacific.
What do you have to do in life to earn nicknames of Rooftop and Catfish? Those are very interesting.
Those are
Love
very
to know
random.
the story behind that.
Well, there's probably one way to find out.
Like Chupacabra here, 57.
Well, that one, you got to have someone smart watching, figuring things out, and making nicknames stick. You know, I don't want to take all the credit. But anyway, that is, we haven't seen much of El Chupacabra right now.
Oh, sorry. Chupacabra.
The last couple of weeks, it's just not been the same Blake Baggett, not the guy who was attacking people when they were tired late in these races. And they didn't really have a major injury or anything to point to. Wait a minute, here's their battle for second. If you look at 19, Tomac. Bogle not letting him go.
He's hanging with him. Bogle was at a 2:37.4 last lap around, and Tomac was at 2:38.8, so over a second faster. This is late in the moto, 25 minutes in.
Think that's a mistake from Tomac, or is that Bogle stepping it up?
Maybe a little both.
Have I stumped the master?
No, I'm just not going to tell you all my secrets. I still have another moto after this.
All right, yeah. Once again, it doesn't come free, does it?
That's right.
Don't just give away free. Yeah,
your
Bogle
check
was closed
didn't
back
clear
in.
from last week, so once that check clears, I'll give you some more knowledge.
Maybe some swag or something. I'll get you a T-shirt. Okay, so Tomac, who we thought had cleared his teammate, and well, I said at least, shows what I know. Well, you know, Bogle's only used to 20-minute motos. It's hard for him to go the distance.
It's a very amateur mentality that you have.
Of mine.
They're both professional racers at this point.
That's why my checks didn't clear. I'm making amateur money here. So Bogle keeping Tomac honest. They are not within sight of your leader. That's the Tomac mechanic, easy for me to say, saying dig deep, but that's just to hold off his teammate. Like I said, they can't see Wilson, who was 9 seconds in front of them. He's putting it all together late in the year.
Can you tell our new viewers why he has a red number plate and everyone else has a black number plate?
He is your series points leader. This much I do know. And the man who's leading the series gets to run the red plate. And it was a funny thing because Wilson had that red plate quite a bit this year, but a lot of the talk was about his frustration over not getting a race win. But if he ends the year with 1 win, as he has now, or no wins, or 5 or 12, at the end of the year, if you're champ, I don't know, does it really matter?
No. It does at this point, but if he's got the title and, you know, he led 105 laps compared to Baggett, his 79 coming into this, and if he leads this whole moto, it's going to be approximately 14 more laps. 7 moto wins. This will give him 8. If he wraps this up, it'll tie Baggett for the top, for the most amount of moto wins.
And to give you an idea of his consistency, he has only finished off the podium in 2 motos this year. He's been in the top 3 in all but 2. Last year's champ in this class, Trey Canard, was off the podium 10 times. So Wilson, one of the all-time consistent runs this year.
We're trying to...
Yeah, I was onto something. To welcome you back to Steel City in the 11th round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Justin Bogle was fast early, seemed to lose some steam, went fast again. I thought I had been proven wrong when I said maybe he's not used to 30-minute motos yet, but now he's beginning to fade back. Again, he's lost a couple of spots, not only to his teammate Eli Tomac, but while we were away at break, both Marvin Musquian and Tyler Rattray were able to get by him as well. So I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Bogle turned a 2:38. Every other rider inside that top 5 was at a 2:34. So he lost 4 seconds that lap and 2 positions. Incredible ride for Musquian and Rattray. They're really coming on strong here with 2.5 to go.
Rattray trying to get him back. There he is on the 28. Remember, Musquian got him way back in his moto, maybe 15, 20 minutes ago. And there's an opportunity for Rattray to get him back. And this is a battle. Let's see, you've got Rattray. They're looking for a possible podium in this moto. That would be the first in the U.S. for Musquian. He'd be happy with that.
Yeah, so you got Wilson out front, Tomac, Musquian, Bogle. Oh, I'm sorry, Rattray, and then Bogle rounding out your top 5. Hey,
yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
Weege, will you tell our viewers what the wildest late night party on television is?
On television. On television, it's The Daily Habit. Big talk, big sports, big tunes. That's the wildest late night party on television every weeknight on Fuel TV at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. How does it match up to a night at Jeff Emming's house?
No, you got to tune in, see Pat Parnell and all the insanity that goes on with that program. It's
That's
crazy.
why they have you come on there, because they heard your reputation for wild late night parties. And oh, okay, sorry. That you're just on there for motocross analysis.
That's right.
Got it. And this is Rattray coming through. Remember, he was battling with his teammate Baggett. He is now in front of Baggett, so a lot of shuffling with the Kawasaki boys. So Baggett must have made a mistake somewhere. We'll give you the full rundown. It's Wilson, Tomac, Muskian third, Rattray fourth, Baggett fifth, Bogle sixth. Then it's Swanepoel, Malcolm Stewart, Darren Durham has climbed into the top 10, and his teammate Alex Martin is battling with him.
They've got quite a points battle between those two teammates on that 1110 Mods Honda team, right? They're starting to get pretty close.
1 point between them, and that's to be top privateer in the series. That's top rider not sponsored by one of the big manufacturers. And it's also a battle for 10th overall. That's big for a privateer to finish in the top 10.
Got that right, and that's a small truck that those guys work out of compared to all the other factory teams that have the big 18-wheelers. They work out of old school back in the box van days.
Jeff Emmett style rig, right?
I had a few box fans in my day.
Here is Wilson looking to polish off maybe another trophy by the end of the day. Could it be a first place trophy? We'll see as he tries to finish up Moto #1, which he has led pretty much from the get-go. Was able to seize the lead early.
Did you see that? That wheelie tap? That was maybe the best execution of that section of anyone that I've seen today. I mean, he's just riding so effortlessly, and he's flowing everywhere, keeping his momentum on that size 9 boot. He's not getting caught in his. He informed us that he didn't have as big a foot as what we had predicted.
Yeah, he's a tall guy, so we thought he had big boots, but I guess somehow he's a slender, tall guy. So I guess that somehow correlated to the boot size.
Dean Wilson is on his way to having a fat bank account too, if he could lock this title down, because there's some serious bonuses that come to riders when they win these championships here.
White flag is out, so 1 lap to go for the 15 of Dean Wilson. Take us through this replay here, Jeff.
Watch this technique. Okay, kids at home, this is what you want to do. Watch when he wheelies into the second jump and taps and has a flat trajectory now that can't quite get enough momentum to actually triple that with the front wheel down. So as the bike starts to come down for the double, you tap the rear tire, kind of pops you back up over the third one.
Wow.
Out of a Scotsman? That type of riding? I thought they only knew how to ride in the mud over there.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
rain.
That's right. And Wilson also spent some time riding in Canada, and of course now lives in California, although he has really stepped up his game since hanging out with Chad Reed down in Florida. So maybe this guy's just more comfortable. He's got to move more. Every time he moves somewhere, he seems to get better.
And I believe that riding with Michael Byrne and Jason Thompson, Chad Reed down there at Reed's compound, that the conversations, the things that happen during the week that we don't see on TV here, the lap after lap and motos and everything that goes on, I believe that Chad and those other riders have been a good influence on Dean. Obviously, here late in the season, he definitely mentally has been strong, and he's been focused, he's been confident, and he's rode this whole moto here, every lap in the lead, I mean, effortlessly, just brilliant.
And also, he's having a good time. Erin has touched on this a couple times when she's been down to the pits talking to the Kawasaki guys at the beginning of the day, how much fun Wilson seems to be having these last couple of weeks. He maybe was a little stressed out, not getting that victory early in the year, but Erin, definite attitude adjustment for Dean Wilson as of late, huh?
It was actually kind of comical to even listen, but he had rode by the Geico Honda team, and he was like, come on, guys, let's go riding, let's go, let's go. He was all amped up and ready to go, and actually the Geico team had to start laughing. They're like, what do they think? There's a championship right now. Does he think we're going to go ride in Glamis? But that's the attitude, the lucky go happy attitude that Dean Wilson is riding with right now.
The luck of the Scottish. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I just missed that geographically, sorry.
Yeah, I want to see him racing a kilt next year. That'd be cool.
Well, he might have something to celebrate, because the title is coming closer and closer into focus as he's about to win the first moto here at Steel City And the riders he's battling for the title with, Tyler Rattray, Blake Baggett, are not on the podium. Checkered flag is out. Dean Wilson has got the first moto at Steel City, and he made that one look easy and
yeah, he did.
Fun, I guess. But this guy, looking for a top 3 of the Red Bull KTM, the Frenchman, Marvin Musquian. Got to be happy with that. Good progress. He lost a lot of ground early in the year with that broken thumb, and when everyone else is racing, getting faster, stronger, improving their bikes, improving their fitness, he was probably just watching our TV show. So good to see the number 125 turning it around.
You can learn a lot by watching.
Well, if you give away your darn secrets.
Yeah.
Which...
Not for free.
Not for free, okay. Maybe just call Jeff Emig. So we'll talk to Marvin when it's over. And don't forget Eli Tomac, who finished up in the number 2 position. There's Dean Wilson really rallying late in this 2011 tour, trying to lock down a big championship.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Welcome back to Steel City, not too far away from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Fans here are fired up after a great 250 Moto number 1. Let's send it down to Aaron with your race winner.
8 moto wins now for Dean Wilson. And Dean, we're watching you. It looks as though you're just riding loose. You're having some fun out there. Are you as comfortable as what you look like right now?
Yeah, I was actually really tight at the beginning. You know, it's a track where you don't want to try too hard. You just want to relax and you know, don't try too hard. And that's what I was trying to do, but at the first like 5-6 laps I actually had arm pump, and then it went away and I felt a lot looser. So yeah, I mean, I got a great start. I just ripped the whole shot. I felt so good to get a nice whole shot again, and that definitely makes your life so much easier. I mean, I had some pressure from, I don't know who was behind me, but he got really close, and then I kind of had to get going a little bit, but I'm just really happy to get that win. And me and Blake are tied moto wins, so I mean, I have 1 overall, but I have 8 moto wins, so you know, that's nice to have. And then, yeah, I just got to give up to everybody. Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, Parts Unlimited, Scott, Vans, Volcom, man, everybody, my mom and dad, Alpine Stars, Toyo Escondido, Sam for coming with me, my mechanic Paul, he's done a great job. Everybody, thank you so much.
Congratulations on your hard work paying off.
Well, now you know who won the first moto. Let's show the other 39 riders and where they finished. Tomac 2nd, Musquian is 3rd. Rattray holds off Baggett. That's 4th and 5th. Bogle, he was the man that Wilson did not realize was challenging him for the number 1 spot early. He ends up 6th. Swanepoel, Stewart, Durham, and Martin in the top 10. So Durham just edges out his teammate. Here is 11 through 20. Martin Davalos riding without a tooth after a rock knocked one out at Unadilla a few weeks ago. Finishes at 11th. Kyle Peters in his first pro race was 16th. Gannon Audette, our Fuel TV 1 to watch, ends up in 13th. Just outside of the points are these riders from 21 through 30. First pro race ever for Chris Plouffe on the KTM. He finishes in 30th. Ryan Sipes, who was up front early, ends up in 31st. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
Dean Wilson said that he wasn't sure who was applying the pressure. Well, it was this guy right here, Eli Tomac. Eli, you had said this morning that today is all about revenge and that you were not going to be satisfied with anything less than a podium. This has got to be a good start to the day for you.
Yeah, last week was definitely a bummer at Southwick. You know, I went 1-1 in the practices, was feeling awesome, and just had a little black cloud on me in the motos. But you know, this week, yeah, I finally got a good start and just made it happen. Came through the pack well, and my whole Geico Honda team was ripping.
Congratulations on your first moto.
Hey, don't miss the promoto of the Moto Inside the Outdoors. That's next Saturday, September 10th, right after our live first moto coverage from Palo Raceway of this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. The Moto Inside the Outdoors, it gives you an inside look and the real story behind the ride. Again, that's next Saturday, September 10th at 6 Eastern and 3 Pacific on Fuel TV. We go behind the scenes with the riders, the teams, the mechanics, the family members. It's a great look at the sport. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
It's only been 4 races since Marvin has returned to racing since your thumb injury, but Marvin, this is the first time that you've made it up onto the podium in the U.S. How does this feel?
Yeah, finally on the podium. It's like the first moto, but yeah, it's good finally. And I worked out since last December, and I had 2 surgery and injury, so it's pretty hard to be back. But this track is awesome, and I felt pretty good, and I did the second lap, faster lap time at the practice, and I did get a really good start and around the top 10. But It was tough because it's pretty warm and humid, and it's not like that in Europe. So for me, it's pretty hard, but it's like this for everybody. And I would like to thank my team, the Red Bull KTM team, and all the people around me. They are working very, very hard for me, and I have an awesome bike. So I just need a good start, and I can do another podium or even first.
And congratulations on a job well done.
And that's the man that won the MX2 championship in Europe the last 2 years. Came over here to the U.S. and unfortunately, as he said, has endured 2 different surgeries that have really prevented his learning curve from really taking off the way he'd want. So better luck next year for him, and maybe he could contend for this American championship. We'll be right back here on Fuel TV to wrap up our first motos from Steel City.
You ready?
Welcome back. It's the next to last round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from Steel City in Delmont, Pennsylvania. Fuel TV's live coverage continues. We just wrapped up our first 250 class moto of the day. We'll give you the race recap and show you how it turned out. Starts, of course, ultra critical in any motocross race, but it's going to have a big bearing on how this one broke down. Specifically, Dean Wilson going to grab the whole shot on the number 15, but pressure being applied early by the 891, a rookie Honda rider, Justin Bogle.
Yeah, and he was followed up by Sipes was in there early in the moto, putting on a strong ride.
But how about Bogle trying to take the lead away from Wilson? Wilson's your series points leader. Bogle's in only his 3rd pro race. Looked good for a while, but then his teammate Eli Tomac catches up.
Yeah, watch Tomac around the outside right here, puts the power to the ground, carries a little more momentum, and gets the inside line on his rookie teammate here, Justin Bogle, and takes the position as they go down this drop-off and into the left-hander.
So Bogle gave him a good fight, but Tomac is eventually able to put his Honda into the number 2 spot. But he was not going to catch Wilson. About the midway point, he really built a lead, and he goes on to win by 9.9 seconds and further extends his series lead. He is closing in on a championship that seemed impossible to predict just a few weeks ago. But Wilson has really turned it up in the latter stages of the year. Aaron Bates, what's your final thoughts here after a great set of motos early today?
Unbelievable what we have just witnessed happen already today, but when I just spoke with Dean Wilson as he was coming off of the podium, he said mentally he is in a different place than he has ever been before. He's relaxed, he's happy, he's going back to doing what he knows how to do best, that's to ride and have some fun, and he's definitely showing that here at Steel City today.
Wow. The more fun you are, the more serious apparently you are about racing, and the more serious you are about winning this championship. He's closing in on it, and you might just see Wilson and someone in the 450 class wrap up these championships live on Fuel TV or Speed next weekend. That's every moto live from our Traxxas Pala National finale. That's 4 p.m. on Fuel and 7 p.m. on Speed Eastern Time. Every moto live for your championship finale. And don't forget tonight, our second motos from right here at Steel City, back-to-back 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Speed. So big thanks to the folks from Fuel TV for our live first moto coverage all year, for our same day and some live coverage on Speed as well. It has been a great season so far, and it is not over yet. If you can't make it to Pala, be sure to join us on Fuel TV next week as we close in on one of the most dramatic championship tours we've ever seen. For Jeff Emig and Aaron Bates, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching from Steel City, and congratulations to our first moto winners, Ryan Villopoto and Dean Wilson.
Pro Motocross Championship has come down to two men. Kawasaki's Ryan Villopoto, 2 overall wins. He is the current Supercross champion. The rider Kawasaki deemed worthy to bring them a championship. Suzuki's Ryan Dungey, 3 overall wins. A rider who has fought through adversity to sit on the doorstep of back-to-back titles. 2 rounds remain. The final opportunities for these riders to face off head-to-head and settle it on the track. The Steel City Motocross is set to get underway right now.
It's a beautiful Labor Day weekend just outside of Pittsburgh. The perfect setting for the next to last round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. From Delmont, Pennsylvania, it's the Steel City National. And we have already He completed a very exciting and dramatic championship battle in the first moto today. We'll give you the highlights. Ryan Dungey, the number 1, going to steal the early lead from the number 17 of Justin Barcia. Great position for Dungey. Then Ryan Villopoto following his championship rival through. He's going to get past the 17, and then the showdown we were waiting for, the 1 versus the 2.
And as Villopoto was applying the pressure to Dungey, he makes a small mistake, goes off the track, but keeps the lead.
Brett Metcalfe moving up on Barcia to try to take over third. Barcia hits some mud, and Metcalfe takes advantage, and that corner would loom large. Because here we go, the last turn of the race. Dungey still in the lead. Villopoto on the outside grabs a handful of throttle while Dungey makes a mistake, and Villopoto wins the moto. Incredible. Welcome to Steel City. Jason Wygant, of course, joined by 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig. Let's give you the big picture storylines we'll be covering as we headed in the second and final race of the day at Steel City. First of all, Brett Metcalfe won the overall a week ago in Massachusetts. We're looking to see if someone can get into the title picture and maybe spoil it for one of the Ryans. Many could get wins in this series, and he is, remember, the teammate of Ryan Dungey. But if you look at the series standings, it's all about Villopoto and Dungey. Only 8 points between them, and Villopoto just logged a huge first moto win straight up over Dungey earlier today. So I swing it over to you, Jeff Emig. That was a heartbreaking loss for Dungey to lead every turn, essentially, except the last one. What does that do for him mentally? Is he going to be fired up for this race, or is that going to break him?
Well, Dungey is mentally tough, but I tell you, that's devastating because it is a must-win every step of the way for Ryan Dungey. On the flip side, for Ryan Villopoto, that was a huge win. Even though it doesn't guarantee the championship in any way, it's another step closer, and that was some exciting racing. I just wonder if Dungey can come back and regroup here for Moto 2.
Well, that'll be the big question as we're about to go racing. But first, let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast team, Aaron Bates, with a progressive pre-race report.
As the temperatures continue to rise, so has the drama of this championship. And Ryan, right now you're sitting 11 points ahead. You still got that stone cold look on your face right now. What exactly are the thoughts that are rolling through your mind?
Just get out here in the second moto and just finish it off. You know, be strong and get good starts and just try to stay out of trouble. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, by no means, but you know, the first moto was a tough one. I was able to get around in the last corner before the checkered flag, so you know, I feel good. Made small bike changes for the second moto, so I'm looking forward to it.
Best of luck to you. And lined up directly beside Ryan Dungey, Ryan, devastation just took place in that last moto. How do you mentally regroup and come out swinging in this moto?
I wouldn't call it devastation. You know, it's a lot of racing left, 3 motos, but bummer there at the end. But you know, it was good. It was good, a good effort, good solid moto. I think important to get out here, get a good start again, and really put ourselves in a good position. And it's going to be tough, but we'll ready for the battle.
Last week, Suzuki's Brett Metcalfe survived Southwick and joined the list of overall winners in the 2011 season. When the gate drops on Moto 2 from Pennsylvania, Jason, Jeff, and Aaron will see who will prove worthy at the Steel City Motocross. Round 11 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is right around the corner.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Steel City, there are your 2 championship combatants, the 1 and the 2 of Dungey and Villopoto. We'll focus on them in a moment, but first, it's our track map. And of course, this all brought to you by Kawasaki and the all-new KX450F, which is fully equipped and race ready. Jeff, give us a tour.
Got to be important to get a good start and put down a little bit of water on the track today, and this clay has really hardened up. So on lap 1, it's going to be messy and it's going to be slippery. Now this highlighted section, you're going to have to get through that rhythm section that is turning left. I cannot stress enough how much elevation change there is on this track, uphill and downhill. Even on our TV screen, when the track looks a little bit flat, it's still on a grade. And here comes that final turn where Dungey gave up the lead to Villopoto. Man, that was a tough one to take.
GoPro onboard lap of the GoPro Hero Cam. Nick Way and the Rockstar Valley Motorsports Yamaha. What are you seeing here, Jeff?
I'm seeing early morning practice, and the track's nice and moist and fluffy. A little bit of mulch there. You can tell because the sun is behind them, but it has changed, and the track's going to be tough here this moto. It's going to be tough for traction, as it was the first moto. But more importantly for our title contenders, it's all about getting a good start and having a clean race.
We're going to race for 30 minutes and 2 laps, 40 riders in this moto. One moto already complete today. Villopoto won it. There you see the rest of the lineup there at the top of the screen in order of their finish in that first race today. You got to watch out for Metcalfe, Barsha, Reed, Weimer, Brayton, Alessi, all those riders to maybe get in the mix and spoil it for the Ryans. Not going to happen. Both of the Ryans get to the first turn up front. It is Dungey with the hole shot. Villopoto right there. Then it's Alessi on the 800 and the 22 of Reed.
Pretty good start for Chad Reed there on that TwoTwo Motorsports Honda. Championship is all but gone for him, and now it's about the pride. And early in the season, he had the wins, he had the points lead and all that, so we'll see if he can put it together here in Moto 2 at Steel City.
And Villopoto around the outside of Dungey and immediately goes to the lead. Can Dungey respond? He's stuck on the outside of that left-hander, and Villopoto makes the pass stick.
Wow, Villopoto, he's got that 11-point lead after Moto 1. In the next 3 motos, the last 3 motos of this championship, he does not have to beat Dungey to win the title, but we spoke during the break. He's got the momentum, right? He's got the mojo working. No need to give it up now. It's all about going out and just putting together the best rides that you can each and every time.
And he knows Dungey's going to give it everything he has, and he is. He's trying to get back past the number 2. How about Reed hanging out in 3rd?
And that's why Villopoto is not going, okay, I can just ride behind Dungey here for the rest of this moto.
Whoa.
He knows that he has Chad Reed to contend with. He knows he has Brett Metcalfe and the wild child, Justin Barsha, a whole host of riders that would love more than to get out and win Moto 2 here at Steel City.
And Villopoto jumped that big turning double jump, and Dungey has some company from Reed as Villopoto gets away. And here's Reed going for the 2nd place spot.
Dungey taking a look over his right shoulder. He sees Chad Reed there. Oh, look at the bike skating around. Woo. And see, right there where they were landing, it's been pretty dry all day. The water seems to be put to the right side of the track right there.
Riders trying to find the best line through that corner. A lot of ruts, a lot of chop coming in and out of these corners. Ah, trouble for number 17 of Barsha.
Yeah, he was hammering his clutch lever, which is on the left side of the handlebar. That hammering that clutch perch up. It's like he hit one of those wet spots and put the Honda down on the ground.
All right, so he'll have to work his way through. He's got some fast riders right in front of him, including Justin Brayton, who was on the podium here last year. So we'll see if these guys can follow each other through. There's Michael Byrne right behind Barsha. So the first lap is complete. Villopoto leads Dungey and Reed. Villopoto has been so fast early in the races. That is where he has done a lot of the damage in the races he has won this year. We have seen Dungey with some strong closing laps, but really these guys, it's so hard to pick an advantage in any one particular race between these two.
Yeah, and this is going to be a challenging time for Ryan Dungey this lap right here, knowing that Villopoto went by, because now he's got to do something special. I mean, right now he's watching the points leader wheelie away again. Yeah. So he's got to regroup, and it doesn't have anything to do with the bike, the team, anybody else. It's all about, you know, the rider and how deep they can dig mentally, right, to overcome this. So we'll see if, you know, because it's important for Ryan Dungey to put the pressure on Villopoto. You never know, he may make a mistake, pitch the bike away. That's the type of mind games that you play with your competitor.
A couple other riders to watch here. Get the 32 of Weimer, then the 11 of Chisholm, then it's Brayton and Barsha back up. All these riders fighting inside the top 10. Barsha to the inside on Brayton. And Brayton able to cover it and get back to the inside.
Yeah, and see this rhythm section right there. They do that 2-2, have to take a break, do the single, and then double out. This drop-off right here is awesome, because you come down there, hit all those bumps, try to... Uh-oh, Barsha was off the track.
Well, that's normal for him. That's why we call him the wild child. He is actually closed up once again behind Brayton. Here's a rider to watch. Behind them, the 42 of Nico Izzy. I believe it's his first race ever on a 450. Has just made the move on Michael Byrne. So you'll see him coming through right behind this battle between Brayton on the 10 and the 17 of Barsha. There's the Yamaha rider, Nico Izzy. First race with this team, Valley Motorsports Yamaha, first race on the big bike. And working their way back toward the starting line area. Brayton going to try to hug the inside. Marcia doing the same.
Yeah, and you've got your running order across the top of the screen right there. And as it comes back around, you're going to see Villopoto in front. Dungey second, Reed third. But Reed's in second now. And let's take a look at why.
And yeah, what happened here to Dungey?
Dungey gets in that inside groove. See him, the yellow Suzuki there as Villopoto comes up over the double. Almost completely loses the bike, manages to keep the handlebars in his hands, but he gave up the spot to Reed. That's going to put Reed up to second.
And give Villopoto an even bigger lead. Is that a result of Dungey pushing it a little extra hard, knowing Villopoto was getting away?
Sure, he's going for it. He's trying to do anything he can to catch the number 2 here on this Monster Energy Kawasaki.
Well, what can you say about this rider's ability under pressure? Villopoto responding late in the first moto and then coming out here at Moto 2. Wouldn't think the championship's on the line. He is riding cool, calm, and collected, and he's got a big lead. Can he hold it? Well, we'll see. We're early in this race, but as Dungey shows, anything can happen on this track. Anything can happen to the pits, too, especially with the RC cars out there, courtesy of Traxxas. Come check it out the next time you come to one of these races live. Good times here in the pits in Steel City. Not so good on the track if you're Ryan Dungey. He's got to dig deep and find something special to come back through traffic.
Monster Jam on
Introducing episode. See more painful lessons learned the hard way on The Dumbest Stuff on Wheels. Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, only on Speed. Ryan Villopoto trying to get away here with the pressure beginning to mount in this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. What this guy has been through in the last year. Basically, didn't even race motocross for 2 years due to injury. Last year, I think that one really stung because he has battled with Ryan Dungey a lot through the years. He was powerless to stop Dungey in 2010 because Villopoto was out with a broken leg. Now he's got a chance to win this one for himself. He's doing a great job of it. Here is Dungey, the number 1, challenging Chad Reed for second.
Yeah, and I think you have to go back even a few more years for Ryan Villopoto when he had that wrist injury and they had to take the navicular bone out of his wrist. And at the time, their doctors were saying that it might only last 2 or 3 years in that condition, and then after that, his wrist would be locked up. They might have to fuse it.
Dungey the inside on Reed. Sorry about that, Jeff. And we were wondering if Reed could mix it up with these guys. He did for almost 10 minutes. Take us through the pass that Dungey was able to execute there. Was that a mistake by Reed, or was that just a good move by the Dunge?
Yeah, Dunge is on fire right now. He realizes there's a real sense of urgency. And, of course, the championship, we still have 2 more motos after this one. But let's take a look at the replay here of this pass. See, Chad's on the inside, and Dungey just holds a little bit tighter line and does that last double around there. That's one of the characteristics of this track is that they, over the years, they always have those turning rhythm sections. And when you're on and you're flowing, you can just hit those things to perfection, but make one little mistake, you lose a position.
Whoa! And Dungey tried that big double.
Wow.
That's the downside of not hitting the downside, essentially.
That's a wrist breaker right there. You know, when you come up short, that was a hard hit for Dungey.
You see the lead that the Reed-Dungey battle has built over Metcalfe, who's the number 4 spot. They were nearly 9 seconds ahead of him. So Reed was definitely running the pace, at least early. We'll see if he can stay with the number 1. There's Metcalfe. Yeah, he did win the race last week at Southwick, but you can't find conditions much more opposite from last week's race and then this one, Jeff.
Yeah, quite a bit different, but Brett Metcalfe, I mean, this is kind of his spot where he's at right here, and he starts up front. He usually can mix it up a little bit with them, but kind of right now those 3 leaders have really got a little edge on him each lap.
And then it's Mike Alessi coming through next. He is a top 5 in the series standings, right behind Metcalfe, and then of course Reed, Dungey, Villopoto. Still have not seen those trademark hole shots from Alessi. Got on the 450 bike this year. Last year he rode a 350, didn't get the starts, but...
Well, he did get 1 hole shot on the 350 at Hangtown.
Right at the beginning of the year.
And he won the moto,
yeah.
Right? And all was good at that point, okay? So he made the switch to the 350 this year. I mean, I'm sorry, the 450, but just not putting it together. And in his career, he's been one of the best guys off the start that I've ever seen.
Yeah, but not able to find that magic right now. Let's talk about this guy, Kyle Chisholm, who has had numerous surgeries recovering from a big crash in Supercross. Good to see him back in 7th. Then he's got Brayton and Barsha, who are still battling right behind him. Brayton on the Muscle Milk Toyota Joe Gibbs Racing Yamaha, and Barsha on the Factory American Racing Honda. And Nico Izzy was in front of those guys, was battling with those guys, and he's still right there. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 17?
Well, it's pretty much the same thing that I've been hearing from every other rider and mechanic here today as well. They're all struggling to find any kind of traction, but Justin Barsha asked his mechanic, Brett Presnell, for a little extra change, a rear shock spring change, looking for a little additional comfort and to smooth out that ride.
I'm not big on assumptions, but if I was going to make a change, it's probably going to be in this situation to lighten up the rear spring, to soften up the the back of the bike a little bit here. But I don't know about that traction thing. I mean, when we went from 252 strokes to 450s, 450's got so much better traction, right? And that was the big thing. There's a lot of horsepower here. The thing that you need to do is learn how to ride the bike in a lower RPM. I mean, I would say that our two guys, the two Ryans up front, especially Villopoto, he's really good on that 450 at keeping the RPMs down, and that's throughout the testing and practice is developing his bike and his setup to be lower RPM, and that's when the bike really hooks up. Of course, we know Barsha throughout his career on a 250, he's a rever. He likes to get the RPMs up there, and so probably has to make a little adjustment to what his own style is here on the 450, because you start to wind this 450 out, and the chassis and the suspension, it locks it all up, and it reacts way differently than a 250 does.
You got Brayton has gotten around Chisholm, and then it's Barsha. I want to go back to that. That is a strange thing on these bikes the riders talk about. When the engine RPMs are higher, it actually changes the way the bike handles. The bike doesn't want to turn.
Yeah, there's
the gyroscopic forces. Is that what it is? That's a weird thing how that works.
You got my notes package, I think.
Thanks for the charge.
450s 101.
And then this guy, let's focus in on the Canadian, Colton Fasciotti, who got a 5th in a moto last week and has now picked up a ride with the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda team. What are the keys for Fasciotti here? Our Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race.
Well, looks like he put himself in pretty good position here on the first lap. Looks like he's flowing pretty good right now. Fasciotti running a 2:38, quite a ways off of our leader, but of course we know our leader is having one of the day of days. But still, it's a fantastic job for him to come in and step into this team here, late in the season to ride a new bike. All of those changes there, and of course he's a champion of Canada. And right now we're going to see how he can finish this moto off.
Right behind Nick Way, who's there on the number 27. Fasciotti is filling in for the injured Christian Craig, who broke his wrist last week at Southwick. Too bad. Craig had some great rides earlier in the year, but I guess bad news for one is good for another. Fasciotti's picked up a ride with that team. And then behind them is Kyle Regal. Just came through next on the number 30. Then a big gap back, waiting for the next rider to come through. And I believe it's going to be Bobby Fitch. It's going to come through next on the 185. Then it's Les Smith.
I think Smith might have got through there now.
And that is Smith on the 44, Fitch in front of him, then the 45 of Freeze.
Of course, Les Smith, a fill-in on the Toyota Muscle Milk Yamaha team, and at a season best last week. Huge confidence builder. And this is not the first time that he's been a fill-in for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah.
This is his second
shot.
Yeah,
second shot this year. Yeah, when Brayton was hurt earlier in the year, he filled in for him. Now it's Davi Millsaps who's out with a knee injury. So Smith will be here for the final 2 rounds. And a bunch of Yamaha teams to watch. Not only Smith, but also this Rock River Yamaha Freeze on the 45 looking to make the pass. No, Smith's got it blocked. They're all over Fitch. They have yet a third different team Yamaha machine behind them in Ben LeMay, who's on the Moto Concepts machine. Great racing out there in the track. Chad Reed trying to keep up with Ryan Dungey and Ryan Villopoto.
This is a bet.
Great racing here. You're watching the 45 of Vince Freeze. You're watching Bobby Fitch and the 526 of Ben LeMay. And these guys have been going back and forth here in this second 450 moto of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. And LeMay on the 526 makes the move. Kid out of Alaska who picked up a ride midway through this tour with Moto Concepts Yamaha. And making it work right now as he tries to voyage toward the top 10.
And it's a hot day here. 90 plus degrees, humidity levels is skyrocketing. I'm telling you, here in this second moto, we're a little past the halfway point, plus we have a couple laps. Man, physical fitness, if you're in shape like Ryan Villopoto, this is going to be a good day. But once he starts to make his way through some of the lap riders, and it's going to be tough for some of the back runners.
And Villopoto's lead at one point was 11 seconds. It looks like 15 now over Dungey. So he's doing a good job just laying down the laps. We're into the second half of this moto. Villopoto's won titles before. He has to know that this could be the championship destiny. Really puts himself in a great position if he can hang on here, but it's tough on this track. And Dungey has cleared Reed. Send it down to Aaron. What do you got here on the weather, Aaron?
You guys were talking about the heat and the humidity, which is definitely unbearable today. These guys are riding around in it, but they were actually fatigued coming into this weekend. Now, not all, but most. Last weekend's travel was affected due to Hurricane Irene. A lot of people got stuck when normally they would be home on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Some didn't get home till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and some of them did not even make it home whatsoever and came straight here to Pittsburgh. So it was definitely a short week for practice this week, on top of having the heat and humidity today.
Wow. And as we show you the weather that we're dealing with here, that's a lot of humidity. As you can see, it almost feels like 100 degrees. And then Jeff, comment on that. These guys are on a program, all on a training routine, and when it gets thrown off with the travel problems last weekend, what kind of an effect does that have?
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely does, and it affects your recovery plan, and so you have to adapt. I mean, everyone's the same, and I can tell you that even having status on an airline did not guarantee you the first flight out. It was, I mean, a lot of people had the travel disrupted.
Yeah, the Kawasaki guys, the mechanics barely made it back to the shop in California. They had one day basically to work on bikes, and then they flew right back to Pittsburgh. But that's what it takes if you want to win championships at this level. They know they got to put in the extra work. But the good news is they're only about 8 days away from the end of the year. And for this guy and this team, Monster Energy Kawasaki, it might be a very good 8-day span, because they're about to leave here with some big confidence and a larger points lead, although it's not over yet, that's for sure.
Yeah, and for Villopoto and Kawasaki, I mean, this is the first full season on the 450 that he's riding. He started the season, injured the knee a couple years ago, and wasn't able to compete in it, but 3 times in the 250 class, 3 championships. Now he's got his first full season, you know, presumably on his way. He's got the title lead right now.
Yep.
Pretty good chance that he could lock this thing up 4 for 4.
Check out Justin Brayton here, who's in 7th, but beginning to close in on Jake Weimer. Barsha was behind Brayton for a little while. He's jumped about 6-7 seconds off of the number 10. So now Brayton is free to kind of go after Weimer. You can see as the laps have clicked off, he's gotten closer and closer, and Brayton really likes his track. He's won a moto here before. He's been on the podium overall. He's more of a Supercross kind of guy. He was raised doing actually arena cross races instead of a lot of outdoor stuff, since he's from Iowa. It's a little cold around there too, not just Alaska. So you race indoors a lot. The motocross thing doesn't come to him quite as well. So this track, a little bit more technical, a lot of jumps, seems to work for his style, Jeff.
Yeah, this track, it takes a certain technique, even like that downhill left-hander before the Makita Mechanics area. You're coming downhill at an off camber, right? So it falls away to the right. And then there's other turns on the track where you're trying to accelerate up on the off camber, right? And this track, you're on the edge of the tire quite a bit. Like even right through there, it looks fairly flat, but if you walk that it really falls down to the left of our screen pretty dramatically. I'll tell you, I was, you know, in that area earlier today, and I was really surprised that this is a pretty steep downhill right here.
And Nico Izzy has gotten around the 17 of Barsha, so well done for Izzy. His first ever ride in this class. Compared to Izzy, Barsha is a veteran. This is his 3rd race on a 450. And speaking of veterans, here comes Michael Byrne. He's looking to put the number 26 past Barsha as well.
Well, Michael Byrne's wife Danielle is from this area, so they got a lot of family and friends here. And we talked to Burner just before the start of Moto 1, and he says, "Yep, I got to do it. I got a lot of family and friends around. I got to make it happen."
And he's fighting for it right now as he goes after Barsha. Barsha, a little mistake. That's just going to aid the cause of the Australian. Here's the Joe Gibbs Racing team. They're watching Brayton try to march toward a top 5. Lost all of them. Not sure if there's something wrong with him or the motorcycle, but the Cinderella ride so far for the rookie in the 450, well, something turned into a pumpkin. I'm not sure if it's him or the bike, but not so good this time.
Yeah, it looked pretty frustrating right now. That look on his face was not good. It's hard to speculate whether it was the man or machine.
And here's Villopoto working his way through lap traffic. Be careful there. Villopoto's got a nice lead over Dungey right now. And this is what Villopoto does. Jeff, you were there for the Supercross tour. It came down really to the next to last race. It was very close on points. He pulled out a very clutch win over Chad Reed, Ryan Dungey, and the rest. And that gave him a little cushion headed into the finale. Not a big one. Title was still on the line. He's doing the same thing here. Of course, it starts with a good start. Take us through our progressive whole shot replay, Jeff.
Watching the middle half, the inside of the middle, and it's the yellow Suzuki here of Ryan Dungey who gets in there just a wheel ahead of Reed and Villopoto. And that progressive whole shot will go to the reigning champion.
And then Villopoto was able to execute a quick pass, and then Dungey, while chasing him in second, went down. Not a big crash, but enough to let Reed get by him for second. And although Dungey has taken that spot back from Reed, he's not able to get close to Villopoto, who is really showing, again, cool under fire. He knows what's on the line today. He knows the advantage he can get heading into our live finale next weekend. If he wins this moto, he's looked at that pressure, he's staring it right in the face, and he's overcoming it.
Yeah, I think the thought of that pressure and the idea of how riders handle that, to me, Villopoto has been one of the best ever. The only championship that it came down to it was the East Coast Supercross title a few years ago, where it came down to the final race between him and Trey Canard, and Trey Canard got the best of him. Outside of that, Villopoto has been rock solid. And even I go back to the Motocross Championship, the 250 Championship in 2007, where Villopoto and Ben Townley were teammates and locked up in one of the most intense battles that I've ever witnessed. And he came out on top, and there were moments where you thought that, okay, he didn't have it. And then he always seems to surprise you when it's on the line. And the first moto win here today, that was incredible effort, and that the lesson there is to not give up. And it was through this exact same turn on the last lap of Moto 1 that he makes the pass. And I felt that first moto win was so important.
And that's what Villopoto does. He seems to rise to the occasion. He doesn't show a lot of dynamic emotion after the races, but you know that he knows how big this moment is right now. Let's send it down to Aaron, talk to Villopoto's mechanic.
Mike Williamson is Ryan Villopoto's mechanic. Mike, you guys are sitting in a great spot right now. Just about finished the day with one more race to go. What is the strategy for the championship at this point?
It's been the same so far, just win. We've just been trying to get wins, try to get a cushion going into the last round, and man, Ryan, he's unbelievable today. I cannot believe how good he's riding, and this one's going a little bit easier, so just get this one done, and then we'll make a plan for next week.
Rock solid, flawless ride for Ryan Villopoto so far today.
Yeah, he's sweating because it's hot out, but as far as the intensity, it's not quite the same as when Villopoto was chasing Dungey through the majority of the first race today.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. He said cushion. This thing isn't locked up.
No, not
a lot of racing left to go.
But Villopoto's looking good today at Steel City.
The future of racing is here.
West of Steel City, outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Of course, remember on September 11, 2001, the U.S. came under attack when 4 commercial airliners were hijacked. This is the crash site of United Airlines Flight 93, and it honors the passengers and crew of that flight. Next Saturday, Phase 1 opens as Vice President Biden will be there for a memorial dedication. And then on Sunday, September 11th, President Obama is also scheduled to make an appearance commemorating 10 years since the attack. Ryan Villopoto continuing to do damage here as he does. And it's impressive, Villopoto's demeanor. There's no way you work this hard and want it this bad. But at the same time, when you talk to him between the races, even after the races, you don't see a lot of jubilant celebration. Even after he won the Supercross title in Vegas, even after he had won the title, it still just seemed like it was all business for this guy.
Yeah, he's very focused and very determined, individual. And he rarely, like you said, he rarely cracks a smile. But I got a feeling on the podium here, if he can finish off this second moto here with the win. Give Kawasaki their 7th victory here in this class. Then he'll crack a little smile.
All right. What's impressive to me is the system that Villopoto and Dungey have gone through. They are now really establishing themselves as the next great rivalry in this sport. This year, certainly a great challenge for Chad Reed. James Stewart was there in the Supercross Tour, but you got to figure as the years roll by, these two have really marked themselves as the new standard to beat in this sport, although you figure Reed, Stewart, and others are going to be there to challenge them. And for the most part, Dungey and Villopoto have been pretty nice to each other, but it did seem like things were getting more tense as this title came closer to the finale, and it became clear that it was going to be between those two.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the day, Jason, we spoke a lot about, I mean, I kept stressing how I felt that the Moto 1 victory was going to be so important, okay, because that's going to set the stage. And now you can see that the momentum shift here in, I mean, it's only been, you know, a few hours since that moto started. And all of a sudden, you know, man, Villopoto has really got the momentum and all the confidence going into this race. And Dungey made that mistake, but he's also 20 seconds behind.
Right.
You know, so this is a big race here for Ryan Villopoto, and he does have a tendency of making that push, not waiting till the last race, like in Supercross.
Yep.
He really made the statement at the second to last round.
Yep.
Okay, just like he's done here today. I think there's really something to that with his, you know, intensity and saying, okay, I don't want to open the door at all. I want to keep it shut, and I want to keep this thing to myself.
It's amazing, you're right, how that one pass on the last lap of the first race today has totally changed everything for Dungey. He was on the verge of getting a win, straight up over Villopoto, closing back in points. And so you think that has had an effect on his riding here?
Yeah, it's had a massive effect because it put him, and also the pass on the first lap here, now instead of Dungey being able to control the race from the beginning, now he's all of a sudden in a sense of urgency. Okay, wait, I've already lost 3 more points today. It's up to 11.
Yeah.
Now I definitely have to make something happen, and then you tend to override it a little bit. The negative gremlins get in there and start affecting you, and you know it's one of them days. And same thing happened with Chad Reed here at 22, you know, after the race at Millville. I mean, he was unstoppable that day. And today, he's 53 seconds behind Villopoto at this point.
Right, and it's been proven throughout the year, right? Speed-wise, on their best day, it's really hard to pick a favorite between the 3 of them. They've all had wins this year. But as it's come down to the final stages, Villopoto's the one who's been able to stay strong.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Reed, he's got 7 moto wins and 4 overalls. That was more than anyone else this year.
Right.
But it all came at the beginning of the championship.
Here is Metcalfe. This could be 3rd overall for him. He hangs on with consistent finishes, finished a few positions in front of Reed in Moto 1, and will only be 1 position behind him here in Moto 2. Reed's probably going to be pumped to at least get up on the podium in this particular moto. But for the overall day, with the scores combined from the 2 races, Metcalfe will be on the podium again. Metcalfe always seems to come on strong late in the year. He did the same thing last season. He's actually challenging Dungey for wins down the stretch.
Well, and the interesting thing here for Metcalfe, you know, he rode that Geico Honda last year.
Wow, look at Villopoto celebrating as he goes past the mechanics, the Makita Mechanics area with a lap to go.
Waving to his mechanic and everybody. You know, I mean, he's in the zone right now. I mean, gelling together with this new Kawasaki 450. They made the switch a few weeks ago. You know, I mean, only Yamaha a few years back made a decision to ride the next year's bike.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's virtually unprecedented to do that. And so they've made this decision, the team, and got this new bike ready, and it's performed pretty well.
And you might say, hey, Villopoto won a lot of championships in the other class, the 250cc class, which is kind of the stepping stone into this. Oh, you knew this was going to happen, but a lot of people were wondering, you know, Villopoto's not the biggest guy, had a really aggressive style. A lot of people wondered, could he translate that style to the bigger bike? And it had been a rough go of it as far as injuries the first 2 years on this machine, but he's obviously answered all the questions now.
He certainly has, and I mean, it's a great ride here today. I mean, I want to stress, it's not over till it's over.
That's right.
You know, there's practicing and testing and everything else that can happen.
Last year,
this next week, and I mean, you even go back 1 year ago to the final round in the 250 class, where it was another Kawasaki rider, Christophe Pourcel, who seemingly had the championship locked up over Trey Canard. I mean, the championship was in the bag, as they say.
Yeah.
And he crashed on his own in Moto 1 and did not finish. And basically that gave Trey Canard the championship. So Villopoto knows what this is all about. And the best way to win the title is each and every week, each and every moto, just like today, go out and try to win the race. That, just like Mike Williamson said, we want to win motos.
So they're not thinking championship when they go to the gate. Nope. They're just thinking individual race.
Well, see, that's the thing, is you set your goals and you focus on the job at hand, you know. And I remember reading a book by Phil Jackson where he talked about it with Coach Jordan and Pippen and all those guys about staying in the moment. You don't think about the NBA Finals. You think about this game or this free throw or, you know, that. And that's exactly what Villopoto does. He inches his way towards the title.
Well, if you want to break this season down to a moment, it could be that pass that Villopoto made on Dungey in this section in the first race earlier today. It has turned the tables as far as the momentum is concerned, and then he polishes it off with a fantastic performance, winning and leading every lap in the second moto today. Ryan Villopoto conquers Steel City and sets himself up for a championship next week.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Changed the entire season. Here's Ryan Dungey leading the way in our first moto at Steel City. Here's Ryan Villopoto. This is a game changer.
Dungey blocks the inside as he should, but Villopoto around the outside.
That's it, makes the pass, wins the race with the pass in the last turn, comes back in our second race today and dominates it. He has swung the momentum his way. This guy is relentless. There have been many fast riders this year, a lot of guys that are in shape. They've all got great bikes. But the thing is that throughout both championship tours so far this year, he has never faltered. Other riders have had their problems. Villopoto has not. Here's the results of Moto 2. Reed, solid ride there for third. His countryman's right behind him. And let's send it down to Aaron on the podium with our winner.
It's as though he was on autopilot all day long. What a flawless ride it was for you. Ryan, what does this do now for your confidence? We've finally seen you smile as you head into the final round.
I mean, it's huge. You know, this is like, this is the Salt Lake race of outdoors for me. So, you know, I got a decent breather going into Paula. We'll just get through that. And, I mean, it's been an awesome year. I can't thank everybody at Monster Kawasaki. Done that for the two great starts out there, and you know, Oakley, Thor, Parts Unlimited, my fiance, my trainer, everybody, thank you guys.
What else can you do this week to prepare for the final round?
You know, I'm just gonna maintain what I have and show up to Paula ready. Like I said, I have that gap now that it's a little more comfort, but for sure I want to go there, ride well, put a show on for you guys.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you.
Ryan Villopoto victorious here at Steel City.
After 22 motos and 11 rounds of racing, it all comes down to this. We crown our champions 1 week from today at the season finale at Pala Raceway. Please join Jason, Jeff, and Aaron for 2 hours of live coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern for the finale of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship.
Monster Jam on.
Welcome back to Steel City. The big crowd here just witnessed a game-changing, championship-changing, heck, career-altering second moto. We'll give you the Lucas Oil race recap and show you exactly how and why it turned out that way. We'll start, of course, with the start, which is Ryan Dungey getting out front early. But here's Ryan Villopoto around the outside, Jeff.
Yeah, Villopoto really trying to find a dry line as Dungey was protecting the inside, which was a little wet. He was a little bit tentative, and when they came around that left-hander, it was Villopoto.
And then Barsha goes down, who was one of the guys we thought might challenge those two. He crashes. He's got to work his way back. And then Dungey goes down chasing Villopoto, and Chad Reed gets to second. Then Dungey's able to repass Reed, but by then Villopoto, see him at the top of the screen, was long gone. And that's big because in the title fight, if Dungey had come out on top today, Villopoto would have had to have gone out and won the finale at Pala. Now Villopoto controls his own destiny. Let's go down to the podium with Aaron.
It's a never give up mentality for Ryan Dungey, and Ryan, you knew that it was now or never to make something happen. Was it possible that you may have overrode this track today a little?
I don't know if I overrode it or anything. I think I rode it pretty good. You know, I think first moto was really well, and he got by me there at the end of the thing. But you know, I went on a limb there, made some changes before the second moto, and just wasn't shining too good, man. Lost a little bit of ground and was struggling. But no excuses. He rode really good, and go to Paula, put our best effort in, and have some fun, and
go from there.
It's still not over. Congratulations on a job well done today.
All right, good to see Dungey still smiling. And that's the standard these guys have set. He finishes second. There's 38 other riders that wish they could have done that. But he knows he wanted the W. Metcalfe ends up third overall, edging out Reed. Weimer in the top 5. Alessi, Brayton, Regal, Way, Byrne is your final top 10 today. So I'm sure the Burner is happy about that. Let's send it down to Aaron with our third place finisher.
It's always the rougher, the tougher the track, the more Metcalfe seems to excel. But you've got your dad here cheering you on. And what is it about the late race or late season charge that you always tend to put in?
You know, just getting comfortable now. It took a long time for me to get comfortable and find the settings that were correct. You know, I just got to thank the Rockstar McKee Suzuki team for that. You know, I kind of messed it up early season testing and just wasn't up to speed. So now we are. But just want to thank all my sponsors, Thor Parts Unlimited, Scott Alpine Star, and everybody at Etnies. Man, it's been a great day again. Happy to walk away with Steel City on the podium.
And we'll show you what the scenario looks like heading into our finale live next week at Pala. A 14-point lead for Villopoto. That's not much. 25 points are paid to win a single moto, and we'll race 2 of them next weekend. So Dungey still has a shot.
He still has a shot, and there's so much practice and testing and everything, so much time on the bike, you know.
That's
right.
You
got to keep going all the way to that final checkered flag.
September 11th, the NFL regular season begins with a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, the Falcons take on the Bears in Chicago as 2 of the NFC's best go head-to-head. Then it's the Giants taking on the Redskins in D.C. or other regional action. Coverage begins Sunday, September 11th with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we've got 1 race left as we show you our Toyota upcoming schedule in this tour. We will have all 4 motos live on television next week. Our first moto is, of course, covered on Fuel TV at 4 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 o'clock local time out in California. We'll take a little break, and then we'll be back with our live coverage of the final motos of the year on Speed. That's our Toyota moving forward schedule. Live every moto next week in Impala with everything on the line. The trophy that Villopoto has there, well, that is a step toward the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, but he's got to do it again next weekend to make it happen. It is boiled down to 2 men, the Ryans, Villopoto and Dungey, as a rivalry begins to brew and the championship drama begins to rise. The showdown next weekend. Join us live on Speed. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emming, I'm Jason Wygant. Congratulations to our winner, Ryan Villopoto, and we'll see you all live next week in California.
Kawasaki's Dean Wilson survived Southwick. Even the threat of a hurricane could not derail the likable Scotsman's charge to his first championship. Wilson comes to Steel City within reach of the coveted AMA title. Just 2 rounds remain in the 2011 250 campaign. Round 11 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is set to get underway from Delmont, Pennsylvania.
The motocross fans of Western Pennsylvania have gathered for the next to last round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship in the 250 class. It's the Steel City National from Delmont, Pennsylvania. And we've got our first race already complete today. A big step forward for the championship for one rider, and it starts with a big step forward off the start. Dean Wilson, the number 15, is going to control it and grab your early lead. But he's under pressure from a rookie, Justin Bogle, Jeff.
Yeah, Justin Bogle on that Geico Honda got a third-place start, but then he really put the pressure on. Watch right here as Bogle tries to go around the outside of the points leader with the red plate. It's incredible aggression there from the rookie.
Trouble for Brock Tickle. That's Wilson's teammate. He would have some equipment problems. Wasn't able to finish that one. Similar trouble for Jimmy Dakotas. So this track doesn't care what brand or manufacturer is putting your bike together. Then we get a battle between the teammates.
Yeah, here, look at Eli Tomac, second-year rider, making his way around the rookie. And this was late in the moto there. It seemed like Tomac had just a little bit extra energy and fitness.
So Tomac on the 19 is going to just edge out the 891, his teammate, to take over second. But there was no catching Dean Wilson, who wins the first moto. He has that red number plate in the bike because he's your series points leader, and he's looking to extend that lead today. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Steel City. Of course, Jason Wygant and Jeff Emmett, your 4-time AMA National Champion, here to break it down. Let's give you the big picture storylines that we're looking at as we come to Steel City. First, Dean Wilson. He's got momentum, looking good as far as the points are in the series. He could potentially even wrap it up today if his competitors falter just a little bit. And he's helped his own cause by winning the first moto at Steel City a little bit earlier. And his teammates Tyler Rattray and Blake Baggett finish a few positions further back. If that happens again here, Wilson will wrap up the title here at the next to last round. And he doesn't appear to be feeling the championship pressure at all, Jeff. He's been very relaxed the last couple of weeks. And the more relaxed he gets, the better he seems to ride.
Happy racer, happy rider, right? I mean, you know, when they, when things are just going right and you're just flowing your turns, it just seems like that you can do no wrong. Dean Wilson put on a spectacular ride that first moto, and he's getting close. And like you said, he's not really thinking about it. He's just focusing on the task at hand. And for right now, it's the second moto. Get a good start and control the race, and you never know, he may wrap it up.
Yeah, and it's amazing he has this lead because just a few weeks ago, this title was too close to call. He's really pulled away from the pack late in the year. For more, let's send it down to Aaron Bates with a Progressive pre-race report.
Martin Davalos has been extremely insecure about his smile ever since the first lap of practice at Unadilla when a rock knocked out one of his front teeth. You'll take a look on his butt patch this weekend. It is a toothless smiley face. Martin has ended up, he's had to go in and get himself implant put in, but right now he's just got a temporary, and he told a pretty funny story this morning when yesterday at the Atlanta airport he took his retainer out to put his fake tooth on his lap, and when he stood up it ended up getting kicked around like a hockey puck down the Atlanta airport. Obviously he's cleaned it up, his smile is intact, he's having a little fun with it now that the damage is done.
That's not something that you count on. I mean, that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, he had to, he was able to clean that thing off. So that's Martin, who had a tooth was knocked out by a rock at Unadilla. Here's your race breakdown. I'll show you exactly how it goes. We have two races, one that's already complete and one that's about to run, 40 riders in each, and then we total up the scores from both of those races to determine an overall winner for the day, and each race lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. Riders look pretty relaxed down there at the line, but they're just kidding themselves because they've got a really rough track ahead of them. Let's give you the track map brought to you by Kawasaki's all-new KX450F, which is fully equipped and race ready. Jeff?
Long track here at Steel City. Clay, hard clay. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard packed in certain spots to put down a little bit of water again. It's going to be really slippery in others. There's these turning rhythm sections that they have to deal with. A lot of undulation here, a lot of uphill, downhill, and a tremendous amount of off-camber turns. And that's going to make it tough here, especially late here in the second moto. The track's going to be rough. Some of the ruts are going to be nasty. But overall, it's a really fun track, and the riders really like it here. Lap time up over 2.5 minutes.
That makes it one of the longer tracks this year. Here's what it looks like on board with another one of the new kids, Jeff.
Kyle Peters, DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha. This is earlier in the day in qualifying practice. I can tell you the track does not look like this anymore. This is nice and moist, and it's got the mulch out there. It's pretty smooth here for Kyle in his first professional race ever. You can see him tiptoeing through the inside. This section is choppy and rutted all the way through over that Toyota truck's downhill jump. And I tell you, this is going to be Moto 2 for Peters. And he was 15th in the first moto. His goal needs to be to put the Yamaha up inside the top 10 here in Moto 2.
It's his first pro race. He and Justin Bogle, who we mentioned earlier during our first moto highlights, were supposed to make their debuts together a couple of weeks ago at Unadilla, but Peters had a back injury, so he took a few weekends off, and he's ready to go. Give us the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race here, Jeff.
Yeah, well, this can apply to everyone. Get the start. Get out there. Make life easy. Traction control, you got to be good with the throttle. You got to shift at the right times, not rev the bike out too much on those off cambers. And fitness. It is hot and it is humid. I mean, we go outside of our air-conditioned booth here, and it's like, it's going to be a tough second moto. And if Dean Wilson wants to wrap up this championship, he needs to get that start and control the race, just like he did in Moto 1, where he led wire to wire.
If he wins this one, and Rattray on the 28 and the 57 and Baggett finish out of the top 3, I believe that will be enough for him to wrap it up. We'll keep tabs on it throughout this race, see if Wilson can lock up his first major professional championship right here, or see if it'll go down to our finale next weekend all the way in the left coast in California. But first, let's go racing in Pennsylvania. Start about to get started. They're pushing and shoving. I think it's the KTM of Marvin Musquian, who's got the whole shot and bumping around with Wilson on the 15.
Wilson was second. Now he's first. Your points leader back out front once again.
He's definitely feeling it. Musquian now in the second. And is that another Geico Honda with a good start? Yes, but it's Eli Tomac who has not been the rider on that team getting the good start. Seems like every other rider on that team has started up front besides him. He is third.
1110 mods have Alex Martin represented. He's in fourth.
Remember what Martin did last week? Had a good start like this and led for a while. He's up with the leaders again. Then you got 35 of Kyle Cunningham. And I think it's Rattray coming through as well. But your leader is Dean Wilson, putting himself right where he wants to be.
It looks like Baggett is the second pro circuit rider, and 2 positions behind him is Rattray.
Wow, okay, so Rattray even further back. Here is Tomac taking the measure of Musquian. So Tomac, I'm sure he wants to prove that he can run with those Kawasaki's. He would love to get a moto win.
Well, if Tomac can nab the moto win, that would give him the overall. He was second in Moto 1.
Good point.
Okay, and Pro Circuit Kawasaki has won every overall this season. Up until last week, they had won every moto. Just an incredible performance for the team. But you know, the competition here between the Geico Honda and the Monster Energy Kawasaki, it's intense, okay? And Tomac has been struggling all year. He's been off the pace of the leader, but today he seems fired up. Is this the day where Honda finally beats the Kawasaki's?
No excuses. Tomac's where he wants to be, able to challenge Wilson. You think they watered that section?
Short line.
He goes to the inside. I didn't think that was going to work.
Whoa.
Tomac might have the pass made, and he does. So Tomac passes your series points leader and first moto winner. He didn't care about momentum or statistics. He just wants to win.
Well, and what Tomac has on his side is that Wilson, it's not a do-or-die situation. He doesn't have to win this moto, okay? So he doesn't have to necessarily, you know, go for broke in this. And so if I'm Tomac, I'm going to take advantage of that, right? I'm going to ride him hard if I have to, you know. But that was a great pass by Eli. He really, it looked like he made a little mistake going into that section, but took the short line, and it worked for him.
Hey, you mentioned the rivalry between these two teams, the Honda boys and the Kawasaki guys. So you don't think it's lost on Tomac that that team is yet to win a race this year? He knows the mission right now.
You know, I spoke with their team manager, Mike LaRocco, before the race today, and he spoke about how he's moving back to California. They know that there's some issues that they have to address and some things that they're working on. And when it comes to hard work and dedication, they have a leader there with Mike LaRocco that, I mean, this guy's multi-time motocross champion. I mean, he's definitely an ally for their team.
I'm happy to hear that you and LaRocco are on speaking terms.
Yeah, of course.
The whole racing rivalry, that's all done, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Wilson. Rivalry is still brewing here between these two. He wants to get Tomac back. We got a good race going on.
Well, that's not to say if we got on the line that it would
go right back
up.
Okay.
Racers are racers, Weege. Okay?
All right, so that's the deal with Wilson and Tomac right now. It's the next generation of LaRocco and Emick battling for the #1 spot here at Steel City. This is what they call the Sky Coaster, a bunch of double jumps winding up and down a hill.
Hey, you know, I know we're only one lap into this race, and there's a lot of racing to go, but I was on the same flight as Tomac when we flew into the Pittsburgh airport. When we landed, the pilot says, and the time is 2:43. And I look back at Eli's dad, John, because 2:43 was his amateur number. And we all kind of looked at each other like, oh.
Good omen.
Is that an omen?
Maybe.
You never know.
In fact, he's pulling away a little bit from Wilson right now. So apparently when Wilson landed, they did not say the time is 15. It doesn't work that way. Maybe on military time. But you're right, Wilson has to think about this. He doesn't need to beat Tomac as far as the points. The championship is the big picture. But you know he wants to win the race. So what's the strategy here if you're Wilson in second? Are you happy with this or not?
Ride smart.
You're going to stay focused on the title. All right, these fans are getting to hang out in the Traxxas area, getting to see what these machines can do off the track as we watch what these dirt bikes can do on it. Stay with us here at Steel City. Well, Eli Tomac has taken this race by storm. It's the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from Steel City in Pennsylvania. We expected Tomac to be winning races and running up front all season long. it has not panned out that way. He's way back in the series standings, eliminated from championship contention, but now finally starting to feel it. Dean Wilson is second, and here's another rider that we thought would be a contender all year long. Marvin Muscat, the Frenchman, who won a bunch of titles in Europe before moving over to the U.S. this year. Unfortunately, his series has been interrupted by a broken thumb. And now that he's back, well, he's back up front. How about Alex Martin? What a run this kid has had as of late, the privateer.
Well, yeah, he always has a great ride at Millville, which is his home track. His family owns the track. And then last week at Southwick, in the sand, he has a great ride. And then the question was, okay, on those two sandy-type tracks, he's got it. But how can he perform on a hard pack track that's really rutted? A totally different track. I mean, just a totally 180. And here in the second moto, he's got a great start. He was 10th in the first moto, which is a great ride. And now he runs 4th in this one. That can put him in the top 5, possibly in the overall.
We'll see how long he can hold it, because Blake Baggett is all over him here. And Baggett needs to move forward. He's got to try to find some way to get to Wilson. Although, I don't know if that's going to happen. Baggett still unable to make the pass. I'll tell you what, you can't help but cheer for Alex Martin, one of the nicest kids out there. And, of course, we know well the story this year of this team, 1110 Mods. Very low budget operation, not much support. Although they did get some help today. Oh, Baggett comes off the motorcycle. And the machine nearly getting run over. He's in a very precarious spot at the landing of a jump.
Looks like he's all right. There's his, actually Wilson's a mechanic looking on, all of the pro circuit riders, but this is going to be devastating for Blake Baggett in the championship chase. It's going to put him way back right now. Try to get an idea of where he's at when we see another rider.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, he's certainly dropped out of the top 10. That's a 245 of Lance Vincent. And we're thinking around 15th or so. So yeah, devastating. That might officially eliminate Baggett from the championship mathematically going this far back.
Well, the good thing is that he's all right. It looks like the bike didn't get banged up too bad, and he's back on the charge, but boy, that's going to be frustrating.
Just strange how the second half of this series has gone for Baggett. That midway through, he was the man to beat in this tour with a bunch of wins, but then things have been going like this.
Watch this, he hits that Rockstar, that banner right there. He got too far to his left, and he didn't just clip it with the left-hand handlebar. I mean, he plowed into it, and that's because, once again, like I spoke at the top of the show about the off cambers on this track and how you're always fighting, you're on the edge of the tire and you're always fighting against the camber, and he faded too far to the left before that double. He's lucky that he got off easy, because I mean, you could go flying through the air right there, and this hard clay, it has no cushion when you hit the ground without the bike.
Yeah, impressive that Baggett's machine or himself did not incur any damage, so he's able to start working his way forward again. And earlier in the year, like I was saying, we were calling him the El Chupacabra. You put him back in 15th place, no problem. He would just pass his way through. Here he is making a move on Vincent. Here's another look at the crash.
Yeah, watch right here. He gets wide, and you can tell he sees the track, but that Rockstar thing was it's about 3 feet off of the lip, right? So he's focused on, look at the bottom corner right there where the riders are going off. Rattray went off the same line, but he was leaned to his right. Okay. Well, Baggett was stood up going through that same line, and that big can there was in the way.
Wow. The can, though, able to survive.
Yeah.
Solid. Thought we might have an explosion of Rockstar energy drink.
The battle's not just between the riders, but it's the Rockstar and the Monster going after it.
Let's see who Baggett's closing in on now. That's Ryan Sipes right in front of him. Hey, here are your leaders. Dean Wilson hanging around. And you see Bones Bacon there of his pro circuit team cheering him on. Wilson still has a shot at this one.
Jason, he's not just hanging around. He just turned the fastest lap of the moto. Wilson did. 2:31.8 to Tomac's 2:32.4.
Check out the championship scenario at the top of the screen. We've done some math. If it ends like this, Tyler Rattray will be exactly 51 points behind Dean Wilson. That's the magic number. Wilson needs a 51-point lead to wrap up the title today. And if it ended like this, that's exactly what he would have. And he would have the #1 plate as your new 250 class champion. I don't think he's thinking about titles right now. He just wants to try to get back past Eli Tomac and take the win. This is a great race here in Steel City.
why they race. It's the playoffs, and there's no time.
Martin trying to make moves, trying to put his machine up toward the podium, and Rattray! Whoa!
That looked familiar.
Somewhat, but there was a difference when Ryan Villopoto made that pass on a 450. I don't think the green bike went onto the green grass. Martin's not happy about it. He's trying to come back.
As he should. He's putting in a great ride. That's going to put him back to 5th.
Whoa, we got a change for the lead. Dean Wilson has passed Eli Tomac, and we saw as we were going to break, he was closing back in. So something has changed here on the midway point of this moto, and Tomac is losing speed here, not nearly as aggressive through this section as he was earlier.
Yeah, Wilson was 0.8 of a second quicker than Tomac that last lap around, and you can tell now he's got that mojo working.
Yeah, and just more of an enigmatic season for Tomac. We were waiting for him to catch fire. It looked like he finally had, and now Wilson has extinguished it. We'll see if he can hang with him.
So did Dean Wilson land in Pittsburgh at 1:15?
Man, that's gonna because if it ends like this. Well, how about that? Rattray just made up 2 points by making that move on Martin, but Wilson just made up 3 by passing Tomac for the lead. So Wilson's still in championship position. On September 22nd, Barrett Jackson, the collector car event that makes the automotive dreams come true, returns to Sin City. So see the finest, rarest, most amazing cars on the planet, all in one place and all up for grabs. Live coverage from Vegas begins September 22nd at 4 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. So Tomac going to try to stay with Wilson and remount the charge, but the way Wilson caught it and passed him, I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but we haven't quite been able to figure out Tomac this entire season.
Still a great ride. I mean, he's putting in a solid ride, and I mean, halfway through this moto, you know, if he can regroup right here, if Wilson makes any sort of mistake, the 19 of Eli Tomac, he could be in the position to win the overall here. Also, look at the names across the top there. That's your running order, and Baggett is only in 13th after that big crash. It seemed like he was on the ground forever.
Send it down to Aaron for a report on Tomac.
Well, guys, like I said before, he is one of those guys that said is nothing but revenge showing up here today. He said that after Redbud's crash and after suffering from some heat exhaustion throughout the summer, he just has not been himself. Last weekend when he showed up, he said he was prepared, he was ready to win. That didn't happen with 2 bad motos last weekend. It was all about revenge coming in, and I think we're seeing him demonstrate that now.
Yeah, he's still close there, and it's only 1.7 seconds the difference between Tomac and Wilson. And it's funny how quickly the roles reverse in this game. Coming into this motocross tour from Supercross, Tomac nearly won a championship, and Wilson struggled a little bit in comparison. So a lot of people thought, including myself, that maybe Tomac was the favorite. The very first moto of the year, Tomac got the whole shot, started to pull away. Thought that was going to be a sign of things to come, and Dean Wilson reeled him in, passed him, and took the moto win. And since then, Tomac has been trying to replicate that, trying to figure out a way to get back up front. He was for a moment here, but Wilson has overtaken him again.
I'll tell you, when a guy is just in that mode like Wilson's in right now, it's just, they're just so hard to beat. He's riding so fluid and just flawless right now, and he just seems to carry his momentum. You know, Aaron mentioned how Tomac is like revenge, and it's like, oh, I want this so bad. And it's kind of hard in that because your mind isn't flowing, things aren't free. But for Wilson, it's the exact opposite. I mean, he looks great again this moto.
So Tomac, he's still there. Like we said, it's less than 2 seconds. If Wilson makes a mistake, Eli could get him back. And the championship hangs in the balance. If Tomac can pass Wilson back, then Wilson may not have enough points to wrap up the title today. So a lot of racing left, and we'll also be burning up some calculators here as we keep track of the championship chase. Pro Circuit Mechanics, they're trying to figure the math out as well.
This is a bad habit. This is a good habit.
Motocross riders tearing up this Steel City facility. Next to last round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Myself and Jeff Emming and Aaron Bates have been breaking down and analyzing the way this track has changed throughout the day, but let's let the riders talk about it.
Steel City, another one of my favorites. It's dirt's a lot like home, and I feel like the track flows good and it's fun, and it's something you can do for 35 minutes and not get bored.
Everybody seems to go really fast there. It's just for some reason, just everybody goes fast.
I like that track. Had the turn doubles. That was one of my favorites. I don't know, it's almost like a little Supercross, you know, you double, then you turn again and double.
The one double going into the turn, like you have to like land with your foot out. That one's a cool double, and then yeah, those tabletops too are fun. You know, they're really floaty.
It's pretty crazy, and it's a really different track, but it's fun to ride. Obviously, it gets a really rocky surface, you could say.
You know, it's one of those tracks when it rains there, it's slick. It's really slick.
As long as it doesn't rain, it's good. But if it rains, it's like riding on snot.
And a battle going on here on this track that didn't have any rain put down on it, so it wasn't super slippery. Brock Tickle battling it out right now with Justin Bogle to try to get inside the top 5. He's the 6th at the moment. Tickle, there's been 3 riders on the Pro Circuit team that have been winning all the races that are dominating the series, and then there's Tickle, who already got a title earlier this year in Supercross, but has just not had things go his way in motocross, Jeff.
Yeah, and he had a DNF in the first moto. Not sure what happened, but I think it's hard to come back after you don't finish the moto to come back and put in a strong ride, but he is at this point. I mean, he's up to 6th, turning pretty good lap time at 36, and everybody else around him is 3 or 4 seconds a lap slower than that. So Tickle strong here late in this moto.
And with or without a front tooth, Martin Davalos running well here in the number 7 spot. We mentioned at the top of the show, he actually had a rock hit him in the face a couple of weeks ago at a race at Unadilla and knocked a tooth out. And he's just persevering through the pain, even finished that moto.
Well, and then the replacement tooth almost got lost in the airport, right? So that's...
Sure, that thing was not quite germ-free.
Whoa!
Whoa!
He's missing the turn here. Didn't even make a very strong effort.
Yeah.
That could be a, you know, one of those advanced moves right there.
Missing teeth, okay. Missing turns, not as acceptable. We'll see if there's a ruling on that later. There is a Baggett who's worked his way forward. He has gotten around Bogle. Talk about this kid. The rookie has shown great speed here in his 3rd pro race ever. Hasn't been able to maintain that speed all the way to the end, but there's a big transition to racing much longer races as a pro, and I would think also more intense as well. I mean, these guys are going to push you every minute.
Yeah, he's way off the pace right now. He was at 2:47, you know, a good 10 to 12 seconds off that lap. I'm not sure something's not a matter either with him or the bike there.
And Kyle Cunningham had a great string going of 4th place finishes, have been very consistent through the mid part of this tour. Had a rough one at Southwick last week with a couple of crashes. Inside the top 10 here, trying to rebuild the effort.
Yeah, and Cunningham's actually 4th in points, so he's the first non-Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider in the championship.
And next in line, I believe, is Jason Anderson. You talk about rebuilding the effort. This was the super hyped rookie at the beginning of this year. They thought he would be up there, maybe winning races like Eli Tomac did last year, like Justin Barcia did the year before. It hasn't worked. I talked to Anderson this morning. I said, are you feeling better? He said, yeah. I said, what's the difference? And he said, I've never heard a rider admit this. He said, at the beginning of the year, I was a head case. But he was a head case. It was past tense.
Was.
Apparently past that. He has, the last 3 rounds, including this one, started to hover closer to the top 10, starting to turn things around. But when the standard is set like Tomac did last year by winning his first race, it's a tough one to live up to. Cole Seeley, who we heard from earlier, talking about this track on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda. And Seeley, it seems like anyone who had a great light Supercross campaign has struggled outdoors. I don't understand that. But Seeley won a bunch of races. Tickle obviously a title. Tomac won some races. Justin Barcia won the East Coast title. Not even in this 250 class any longer. Was struggling, and they just decided to move him to another class altogether. What's up with that?
Yeah, you can tell Seeley right now. He looks a little fatigued at this point. We still have 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and I think the humidity has got to some of these riders here today.
Yeah, you can tell by the posture of him and Bogle and some others. It's tough, but
not that aggressive.
This is arguably the most physically enduring sport of all, so I guess we should cut him a break.
With victory, the proof isn't in what we say, It's in what we do.
AMA Pro Motocross Championship is... Well, Dean Wilson pulling away now. 7.3 seconds is a gap between himself and Eli Tomac. And this could just be enough to not only win the race today, but also wrap up the championship. And I know I've said this about 5 times already. I cannot believe someone is in position to wrap this title up a race early. This title fight was so close just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I'll tell you, Dean Wilson, he came here to Steel City fully equipped and race ready.
Ah, nice.
Ready to lock down this title. That early moto charge by Eli Tomac looked like he might get the overall, get it done, but Wilson responded almost with relative ease. He's just riding flawlessly.
And for Dean to be his first major professional championship, it would certainly not be the first for his team, who ever since they switched over to these 4-stroke bikes, I think they've won, this would be 5 out of 7 championships for them. And it keeps their undefeated streak in the races going.
Overalls,
yeah. Overalls, yeah. They did lose a moto last week, but they have won all 10 overalls in all 10 rounds this year, and they're looking to go 11 out of 11.
And let's go back 1 week to when Dean Wilson's bike was spewing out all that coolant.
Oh, good point.
Right?
Yes.
And what could have been if the motorcycle had not made it to the checkered flag? It was easily 3 laps that the bike had to run without that. You know, at times with other bikes and other manufacturers this year, the bike has not made it through for the rider. And it just seems like when things are going your way, you know, I mean,
yeah, and it's going his way. It's going his way now. Yeah, and maybe that's the difference between he and Tomac in this moto. Wilson's just riding the mojo. Now, Wilson did know that today could be the day to win the championship, and we had a chance to talk to him earlier about wrapping up that title.
As of right now, I mean, it's pretty hard not to think about the championship. We're definitely getting closer, 2 rounds away, and you know, I'm still going to stick to my plan. That's what's been working for me. You know, just go moto by moto, and hopefully, you know, make it happen.
Well, he's on the way to doing that.
Yeah, so Dean's doing everything that he needs to do, and that's go win the race. You can do no more. The difference is Tyler Rattray, who sets second in points, he needs to get the 3rd place. The problem is that Marvin Mousquin from France is about, let's call it 10 seconds in front of him and appears to be pulling away even. So Rattray, if he wants to keep this thing going and have any chance, which it's a long shot at this point, right, he's got to pass Marvin and get up into 3rd, but time is running out. 1 minute. And next time around, Dean Wilson will get the 2-lap board and then the white flag. And then you start to think. Then it starts to hit you.
So you've been here at this track.
I'm at this track. And when you make that final turn, I'm telling you, if he wraps this thing up, if the points work out here, and he makes that final left-hander and looks at that checkered flag, it's going to be a huge moment for Dean.
And what a relief, because last year, we saw what could happen at the finale. If it goes down to the last round, bad things can happen. Christophe Pourcel had a little bit of a points lead going into the finale last year and crashed out. Trey Canard ended up taking the title. So Wilson knows the difference between having a 49-point lead at the end of the day and having to race next week, and having a 51-point lead and not having to is massive. So Wilson, possibly headed to his first career championship. This will be a big one, so don't go anywhere.
A race at Richmond International Raceway isn't like other races.
Speed Motorcycle text alerts powered by Yamaha. Get the latest motor racing results and breaking news as soon as they become available, sent right to your phone. Just text MOTO, that's M-O-T-O, to SPEED and the number 3. SPEED 3 for the alerts. Do it now. You'll get the alerts after this race. Dean Wilson on the verge of a championship here, and Jeff, you know firsthand, in this sport, you cannot make it on your own. You can maybe pick up a basketball and go down to the court by yourself as a kid, or a baseball bat, or a football. To get a dirt bike to the track, you need some help from mom and dad. Here's Rattray, the guys chasing him points, may come up a few spots short. Talk about the family effort, by the way, for the Wilsons, and for Rattray as well, to get to this level.
Yeah, I mean, every one of these riders has been supported by their parents to race the sport of motocross. And I can tell you, we're a lap and a half away from Dean wrapping up his first professional title. And when we're in the break, I started thinking about it, thinking about 1992 when I was able to win this class, won it in the final race, and what it meant to my family. And I, thinking about all of the hard work and the sacrifice. I mean, for Wilson, his family came from Scotland. Yep. They go to Canada, he races there, then they finally make their way to the United States. And it's not just the rider, it's the team and everybody, around them that sacrifices and works hard. Dean's mom and dad, very, very involved, in his racing. And I mean, the title, it's going to say Dean Wilson, but it's the Wilson family. It's that effort. And that is just such a cool part, is to be able to share all of this with those people that are close to you. And on the first one, it is very much a payoff for all of the sacrifice, financially, time, personal, all that stuff that the family has put into it for their son.
Yeah, and they are there every step of the way as we head into the last lap. His mom's here at every race. His dad is here at most of them. And they are a great family and a hilarious family to talk to. Aaron, you've gotten to hang out with them throughout the year down in the pit area. They're a great group.
They're definitely a great family. In fact, I was just taking a look for them, and come to find out they're not here this weekend.
What?
They are driving, believe it or not, from Chad Reed's house all the way to Pala to be there for next weekend in case he's to win this championship. It's a very sad deal, but they'll be very excited to know that he'll take this home.
Somebody stop him. Get on the brakes. Halt it.
Yeah, once again, in '92 when I won my first title, I chose not to have my father, brother, sister, anyone there. I wanted it to be business usual. As you know, I was locked up in a serious battle. Whoa, Wilson takes a quick ride. I was locked up in a serious battle with Mike LaRocco, and I needed to be focused, okay, just like Mitch Payton is right here.
Yeah, he's the owner of the team, yep.
But I can tell you, the parents, obviously, they're going to be on Twitter, on text, cell phones, everything. And once he hits this checkered flag, once he gets to make that call,
and you look at Mitch Payton over there, you think of a lot of dynasties in motorsports. In the motocross terms, I don't think you can argue this is the most successful team. Over 200 victories for this team over the last 20 years, which is crazy. That's 10 a year. There's Mitch right there in the foreground. And, he's, Rick Hendricks dominating NASCAR racing the last couple of years. All the titles of Jimmy Johnson or what Roger Penske has done in IndyCar racing. This is essentially the equivalent of that in motocross. And what's interesting about that team, that is an aftermarket performance shop. They don't just build these team bikes. If you have a Suzuki or a Honda or a KTM or a Yamaha, they'll build bikes for you. And a lot of the other teams, including that Geico Honda team, leans on Pro Circuit to build their bikes. And although it does seem strange, why would you have your engines built by the team you're trying to race? Often there is no better alternative. Pro Circuit, they're going to give you great stuff. Now, the last 2 years they've been upset. They nearly won the title with Christophe Pourcel, but he just missed it. Ryan Dungey got it in '09, and Trey Canard got it in 2010, but they are going to lock it down, not just first, but second and third in the series, and they've already clinched that with a race to go. But here it is, folks. Dean Wilson's long journey from Scotland through Canada to the United States and to the American Motocross Tour is about to conclude with his first career championship. You hear the crowd come to life. How could you not salute this kid? One of the nicest riders in the game, a fun guy to talk to, and now your 2011 250 Motocross champion. This all, of course, unofficial, as you see at the top of the screen, depends on where Tomac, Musquian, and Rattray end up. But we believe if Rattray does finish fourth, that will be the difference in the series. And those riders are still headed toward the finish line. I think it's over.
Marvin Musquian was third.
And you hear Wilson revving the bike out, coming down in his mechanic, Paul Parabinos, and Chad Reed, who's the man who helped train Wilson the last couple of weeks down in his house in Florida. They have got the championship. Dean Wilson has arrived in American motocross, and we will talk to our champion when we come back.
From groundbreaking motocross technology
lap here for Dean Wilson, who has won the race and the championship in the 250 class of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Let's give you your Lucas Oil race recap and show you how Wilson was able to get the job done. Off the start, Marvin Musquin, the Frenchman, on the 125 KTM, the number 125, gets the lead, but quickly Wilson goes to the number 1 spot, and you're thinking, well, he's points leader. He won the first race earlier today. He's going to check out, right? No. Challenge to the number 19 of Eli Tomac on the Honda.
And watch Eli. He's got the short line. And watch this effort right here. He's going for it and just sneaks around the inside of Dean Wilson.
So Tomac's got the lead, and Wilson, worried about the championship, we thought he might back it down a little bit. And then Blake Baggett hits something on the side of the track. It goes down, and that would essentially drop him far enough back to eliminate him from title contention. His teammate Tyler Rattray could only get to 4th. And that would be the difference, especially with this. Wilson remounting an attack on Tomac to steal the lead. And from there, he would pull away from the number 19. And with the race win and the 4th place finish from Rattray and Baggett even further back than that, that's enough points for Dean Wilson to clinch the 2011 title.
And how fitting is it that Dean Wilson, who had trouble winning the overalls earlier in the championship, wins the overall here today, dominated it, and locks down the title.
Yeah, so Erin Bates is down there, and we'll talk to her in a second as they assemble the championship celebration, which we never thought would happen early. This title was so close, but what Wilson was able to do when the pressure was on is actually relax and have more fun, and he's down with Erin Bates.
All the hard work, dedication, preparation, it all paid off for Dean Wilson. And to present the honors of the 2011 AMA 250 Motocross Plate is AMA's Kevin Crowther.
Thank you, Aaron. Congratulations, Dean, to you and your team on an outstanding season. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the AMA MX Sports Pro Racing to present you with the 2011 Lucas Oil 250 class number 1 plate. Congratulations.
Dean Wilson taking it all in. The crowd is going crazy, grinning ear to ear. But Dean, this morning, you didn't really want to even talk about the championship. You wanted to put it in the back of your mind and go out and do what you knew how to do. You executed that. What does it mean to pull this off today?
Oh, it's just unbelievable. This is, I'm not lying when I say this. This is a dream come true. I've literally slept and dreamed about this. And, oh, man, I'm so happy. I'm so emotional. I mean, this is just crazy. And I just want to dedicate this one to my papa out in Scotland. And my mom and dad, they can't be here. I'm really, really upset they're not here. But they're driving my motorhome back from Chad Reed's right now to get it back to California. You know, they're doing it all for me and the whole team, Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, Parts Unlimited, Toyota Escondido, Bones, our suspension guy, Mitch. Oh man, there's so many. My mechanic, Paul, Sam, he's helped me out so much. This is just unbelievable and the best feeling ever. And I hope this isn't the last one because it just feels way too good. Thank you, everybody.
A lot of support behind Dean Wilson to take home the 2011 250 Motocross Championship plate.
That is awesome. Jason, that is such an amazing feeling, and it's like you've worked so hard through the amateur career and now in your pro career to get to this point, and looking over all that ocean of fans and photographers, it's cool, man.
Check out your Toyota moving forward schedule. We have one race left from Pala, and we'll cover it all live. Our first motos at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fuel TV, and then we'll have an hour break and be back live on Speed at 7 p.m. Eastern for our second motos. So join us for the big championship celebrations next week.
The 2011 season rolls on next week from Pala Raceway in California. Join us 1 week from today for 2 hours of live coverage of round 12 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Jason, Jeff, and Aaron have their bags packed and are ready for all the drama that only a season finale can bring. Don't run away just yet. When we come back, we put a bow on our coverage from Steel City.
Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. And by the 2011 Toyota Tundra, one of the most capable half-tons ever. Well, the title, as you saw before we went to break, here are those results in this moto. Eli Tomac second. Great run again. Marvin Musquin on the podium. And that's also where Aaron Bates is. Aaron?
Heat and humidity has been something that has made Eli Tomac struggle so far this season, but Eli, you overcame it today. How deep did you have to dig to make this happen?
That's pretty much the key that's been missing, I guess, is digging extra deep. Yeah, I've had a couple rough weeks there. You know, I've had a podium here and there, you know, then a bad race here and there, but it's definitely nice. It feels like I'm getting the ball rolling just towards the end of the whole thing. But I want to say congrats to Dean on an awesome season and my whole Geico Honda Fox team. Thanks.
Great job today. And Marvin Muskin, making your way 2 times in a row. You're up here. Take us through your day and how excited you are to be up on the podium.
My goal before this weekend with my trainer and the team is to finish on the podium. But on the podium there is 1, 2, and 3. But finish 3, it's pretty good, and I feel awesome. And like I said, first moto, it was really humid today and pretty warm, but I stay strong and focused on my line. I rode really smooth today, and I got a all-shot second moto, and I would like to thank again the Red Bull KTM team, and they did a great job, and my bike is awesome, and thanks to all my sponsors, Oakley, Lead Brace, Aero, and everybody in Europe, in France. Bye-bye.
Let's give you the overall results here. As you saw, Tomac and Muscan make the math very easy for us. Rattray and Swanepoel, the South Africans, round out the top 5. Here are your point standings heading into our finale. The 52-point lead is enough for Wilson to have this title on lock. But we're still going to race next weekend, and we still want you to watch. And remember, September 11th, the NFL regular season begins on with the Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, the Falcons take on the Bears in Chicago as 2 of the NFC's best go head-to-head. Then it's the Giants taking on the Redskins in D.C. or other regional action. Coverage begins Sunday, September 11th with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern. We've got one more race in this series. Join us next week live from Pala. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Femming, I'm Jason Wigan. Congrats to Dean Wilson.